Music.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to NinjaTrader Live's FOMC coverage. I'm Maggie Lake, and joining me, the dream team, macro strategist Craig Shapiro, senior economist Tracy Shuchart, senior market strategist Jim Cagnina, and Blake Morrow, co-founder of Forex Analytics. Hey, everybody. It's great to see y'all.
Good to see you, Maggie.
Hey, Maggie. Hey, team.
Hey. So it's going to be interesting. Stocks pretty flat now as we head into the Fed meeting, though we did see the S&P 500 get above 7,000 earlier, some action in semis. Treasury yields slightly higher, but most of the action is in the dollar and metals, which continue to storm higher. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Let's see. I think that we're having some trouble with Tracy and Craig hearing us. I don't know if that's true. Yep. Okay. They're having a little trouble. So, Jim, Blake, gonna lean on you two until we get those superstars plugged back in. But Blake, the dollar has really been on the move and having a really hard time recovering after Trump's comments. Interesting to have that happen as we head into a Fed meeting.
Yeah, it actually has been really interesting. Yesterday the dollar got walloped. The euro ran past 120 when President Trump was talking to the farmers in Iowa, and he basically said the dollar is doing great, meaning I'm not really worried about the weakness, and so the dollar weakened. And then today we saw a big reversal of the dollar, and the dollar's recovered as Treasury Secretary Bessent came out and said they did not intervene with with Japan on the yen. And then also he reiterated that, like every good Treasury Secretary will, that they believe in a strong dollar policy. But remember, every Treasury Secretary says that. So
yeah, and I don't think anybody believes this one, really. Like, given what we've seen from policy. I think we got Craig and Tracy with us. Can you guys hear us now?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Yes, we
awesome.
Can.
Good.
We've got this Fed meeting coming up. I don't know, Tracy. It seems like there's more interest in the politics around it than the policy.
Oh, well, yes, it sounds like. I think there shouldn't be any surprises in this particular meeting. We're going to get no rate cut. We know that. We probably have more consensus than not, except for maybe Moran and Bowman. And so I think people are going to be, and I think Powell being himself is not going to address any questions about Lisa Cook or about Trump or about anything that is outside of the purview of the Fed's little circle. He never does. And so I think really what people will be looking for is, does he state what he's doing after he's leaving the Fed? Joseph Wang brought that up this morning here on NinjaTrader Live. And so I think really it is all about politics at this point.
Yeah. Craig, I don't know. It's true. It's so out of character, and the Fed hates getting involved in politics. But Powell had to release that video. I mean, they're under investigation, and he made some pretty serious accusations in that. I mean, the reporters are just going to hammer him the whole time. How's he going to avoid saying something about it?
Yeah. I mean, he's done a really good job to date at these press conferences, avoiding all these difficult questions really about his own personal future, how he deals with the president berating him, and the Fed's independence largely. But then you're right. I think with the subpoena from the DOJ kind of forced his hand a bit. He had to respond, felt like he had to respond with this video. Then he showed up at the Supreme Court for the Lisa Cook hearing. So he's kind of given some, put some chum in the water there for reporters. They're gonna harp on this, considerably. The question is, does it really matter for markets? I don't really suspect it does. I think the only thing that, as Tracy said, that could matter, and Joseph mentioned this morning, was if he decided to actually use this as the opportunity to tell the public that he either was or was not definitively staying beyond his term at the end of May. Again, there's no real reason for him to do that at this point, but maybe he feels like it's time to let the public know what his intentions are. And that would be important because it would give the administration a guide to whether or not they're going to have to appoint somebody from the, if they appoint someone externally, then they'll have to replace Stephen Myron if he decides to stay. But if he decides to leave, then the administration gets basically two picks, and that would really, sway that could really sway the Fed into a much more dovish direction when the new chairman comes into play. So that could be an interesting point if Powell decides to address it.
Yeah. And Jim, Trump's watching this in real time, and Truth Social will be on fire. I can't imagine if Powell were to say he's staying on or leave that door open, what will come out in terms of tweets?
No, I think, I think it's going to be friendly and professional. I don't think there's going to be any fireworks today whatsoever. I think, a lot of people are characterizing this as the most boring non-event FOMC meeting of all time. And, why pick a fight now? There's no reason for it. So my guess is it's going to be smooth sailing. He's going to dodge the questions pretty easily. My big question is, what, if anything, are they going to say about quantitative tightening or quantitative easing, whichever way you want to go with it? That's going to be the big question for me.
Yeah. I'd love to hear from all of you. Where do you see, we're usually really focused on reaction in treasury markets, but as I mentioned, all of the action's been in Forex and in metals. I'm just wondering from all of you, where do you think if we see any market reaction, where do you think it's going to come? Blake, let's start with you. I mean, do you think we'll see more action in the dollar? Is it going to continue to move lower here?
Well, first of all, the dollar's actually had a really big recovery. We're threatening a false breakdown in the dollar index. The dollar index was really on its heels yesterday into the close, and we've seen $100 drop in the euro, 100 pip drop, excuse me, in the euro, which is a significant strengthening in the dollar since Asia last night. So now, if you look at like normal ATRs on a currency, and the euro, we've exceeded it, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't even get a bigger move because so many dollar longs were stopped out of their trades when the euro went above 120 yesterday. So could there be more dollar moves? Sure. And I know everybody's probably avoiding the conversation right now about what if President Trump surprises us with his Fed chair pick during the press conference. And if something like that happens, and I know, Jim, you're just talking about how you think it's going to be pretty benign, but that is one thing that could really throw this market for a loop. And I would definitely be looking for the dollar to move, yields to move, and quite possibly equities as well.
Yeah, Tracy, I mean, do we think that's a real possibility?
Well, it sort of would be on par with something that he would do, certainly. I wouldn't put that past him exactly. This is kind of his MO.
Right?
Is it exactly? And he loves that, right? And he would love nothing more than to garner the attention away from Powell and put it, because he's not cutting rates, right? So now he can say, garner the attention away from him and anybody listening to the decision and the presser and what would the media do? Immediately would be off of Powell in 5 seconds and be on to the president saying what's going on. So, of course, I think he would generally enjoy that. Now, whether that's an actual possibility or not, I mean, we had Besant saying he had an hour-long conversation with him on the way back from Iowa today. But then he kind of threw in, we still have 4 picks. So, I think it would be, he would love the opportunity to do that. It is, I would put the probabilities rather low, but, definitely would throw a ringer into the markets. I think you would see a reaction in all of the markets at that point.
Yeah, because depending on who it is, then they'd start handicapping policy, especially if we have no rate and this is boring. Suddenly, you're going to start trying to price in the future. Some people making their own suggestions, since the White House has had a hard time, or at least President Trump has had a hard time singling it down. Someone said Kevin O'Leary, but someone said Craig Shapiro. I'd put you in as Fed chair. Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that, but
I'm voting for that.
Hard pass.
Me too.
Job no one wants.
Sure.
I'm in, Craig. I'm in.
Yeah.
So, Craig, what are you going to be watching for?
No, I was going to. Yeah, for me, the thing I'm curious to hear from Powell, I think what we've seen over the course of the last several months is we've seen a dramatic loosening of financial conditions and financial conditions now are about as loose as they were kind of right as he took term in the beginning of January. And so if you think about, you know, the long and lagged impacts of rate cuts, well, we've had 6 rate cuts now over the course of the last 18 months. Financial conditions are incredibly loose. Now we just had another big move, weaker in the dollar, which is only going to accelerate that loosening of financial conditions. The administration is talking up a very robust scenario about GDP growth expectations for 2026 because of tax refunds, accelerated depreciation from the one big beautiful bill. And so is there an environment where parts of the Fed need to start to think about pushing back against that momentum, you know, and the loosening of financial conditions, right? The dollar is not in the purview necessarily of the Fed. I suspect he will get questions about the dollar, and he'll say the dollar is Treasury's business, but financial conditions are the purview of the Fed. And so this loosening that we've seen, is there something that he does to push back against that? Now, he's a dove at heart, and so it's unlikely, but I think if we did start to hear that some are a little bit more concerned that this aggressive loosening of financial conditions means, and this commodity price explosion that we've seen, it's possibly bringing back inflation expectations moving higher, and there's some talk about that, I think that would be interesting. We'd see, you know, bonds sell off, we'd see the front end yields moving higher, probably would see a bear flattener, but across the curve, I think we'd see higher yields. That probably would accelerate a lot of unwind too. We get dollar strength on back of that. Precious would sell off, and you know, some of the consensus trades that people have been in over the course of the last few weeks may start to unwind. So I think that'll be interesting. I don't know if we're going to hear about it, but I'll be listening for that.
Yeah, that's a really, really important flag. Jim, I think you have the gold chart, right? I mean, it's just been incredible what we've seen in metals. What's it looking like as we head into that, especially as Craig says, if they start to mention financial conditions and think about that?
Yeah, I mean the metals are they're ripping higher. I mean there's no slowing down. I mean platinum, copper, silver, gold, palladium, everything is super green still, just about every single day. And you start thinking about all the stuff we need to actually make stuff, and then you kind of say, okay, higher input prices, maybe a higher amount of inflation coming down the road. Is the Fed going to take notice of this? You know, on the flip side, in the bond market, Maggie, I mean, 30-year usually gives us a little bit of a tell 4 or 5 days before the meeting. It didn't do it this time. It was really range bound for the last 2 months until today. Now we're pressing new lows in the 30-year Treasury bonds on the long end of the yield. I mean, we broke the session lows today at 114.27 as we speak, and so now it's trying to front run a little bit. Message of probably not really good news that's going to come out. Maybe some subtle bad news that's going to come out today.
Yeah, we're just about 2 minutes away from the decision. And Tracy and Craig, I know you're going to have your eyes on the screen, so if we're chatting, just shout over us and let us know what you see. But Craig, someone also just said the other side is also possible, even looser conditions. And I think this is the issue with politics being so sort of intertwined into this now, and people still sort of trying out and competing for that Fed job, because we know what the administration wants. There's a lot of pressure for them not to tighten in any way.
Yeah, look, there's a contingent on the Fed supportive of the president, but also supportive of this productivity boom, right? And basically saying we can have accelerated GDP growth and positive momentum in the economy in a disinflationary way. And so the Fed really can start to, bring rates lower. This is the late 90s redux. And so there's a group of folks who believe that. And I think Powell probably in his heart of hearts believes that to some degree too. And so, yeah, there's a chance that he may kind of push back against this hawkish rhetoric, that he's done a good job in wrangling the cats and push him in the momentum of the president. I think the fact that the politics are in there makes it difficult to believe he's going to express that today. I think he's, kind of drawn a bit of a line in the sand, but I mean, it's possible. And look, I think if he was extremely dovish today, I think the long end actually would sell off on that. I think we'd see 30-year yields kind of moving higher, commensurate with the gold price action we've seen, commensurate with the weak dollar moves. So he'd be accelerating that loosening of financial conditions in some way. I don't expect it, but for sure, it's possible that that we go in that direction. Maybe he's like, I'm done with the president. I don't want to fight anymore. Here it is. Your turn. I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all channeling how we would feel. Powell seems like he's been up for the fight, especially walking to the Supreme Court. We're just about 40 seconds away. And just a reminder, not so much about the rate decision itself today, but really looking to see who, if anyone, dissents what if they change the language from the statement. And then, of course, remember, there's a press conference at 2:30. That's where a lot of the fireworks will be, which we'll talk about after we get the decision itself. But that decision maybe help sort of set the table for the kinds of questions that will be happening at that press conference on the policy side, but also really importantly, does Jay Powell dive into any of the politics? That's going to be really crucial. The expectations were for no change, so we'll see if that holds. But that's sort of how the market's been setting up here. Most
So
certainly,
no change. No change.
as expected.
As expected, no change.
Fed omits language on downside risks to employment have risen. So that's a bit of an economic activity as it's expanding at a solid pace. So that's a decent upgrade to the assessment. Looks like both Myron and Waller both dissented. So Waller kind of keeping his hat in the ring for the Fed chair pick, I guess, by dissenting at this as well. So the vote was 10-2.
And he said they changed the inflation statement as well and said inflation remains somewhat elevated. So that's somewhat more of a hawkish tone where they kind of toned down their worry about the labor market and kind of toned up their worry about inflation.
I think, Craig, that's exactly what you were kind of laying out ahead of time. You know, are they looking at everything that's going on from the run it hot, I don't know if we can summarize it, but run it hot economy, and thinking that they are a little bit worried maybe about what the knock-on effects with inflation will be. So it'll be interesting to see if they build on that. But that's kind of what you were hinting at might be possible, no?
Yeah, I think this is on the margin, right? It's a little bit of a pushback against the dovish rhetoric and the dovish momentum on, rate cuts are needed and imminent, right? If we're categorizing the labor market as more stable, whereas before we were concerned about it possibly deteriorating, and we're saying that inflation risks are still elevated, then maybe we're shifting the scales back from there's dual-sided risk to we're actually a little bit more worried about inflation. Not that we're worried about inflation per se, but we're more worried about inflation than we are about employment. If that's the case, then you are moving a bit in a hawkish direction. I'd expect to see yields moving higher on that. Looks like the front end yield, front end selling off a little bit. I mean, twos are 358 last. It's kind of at the highs of the session, and 30-year yields at 487.5. So a little bit of a bond market, weakness on back of that. Gold takes a little bit of a hit. Dollar a little bit stronger on back of that. So yeah, I'd say that's the 2-minute macro after looking at reading the kind of the statement here. But we'll have to hear from Powell. How does he address the dichotomy at the Fed with now 2 dissents?
Which is, I think that's very interesting is that, we kind of went into this saying, I think this is going to be a lot more cohesive decision than, say, the last meeting. And so that's exactly what we saw.
It also looks like maybe they're going to just continue to roll over their treasury securities in their mortgage backs. So no more QT.
And that is
that
is put the dollar on the bid right now, and the market's looking past the dissent as well from Waller. So the dollar is firm. The euro is trading down to 119 right now at its lowest levels of the day.
Yeah, and equities are kind of selling off right now, making new lows in the E-mini S&P. We're testing the lows in the NASDAQ right now. Bonds, they haven't budged. We're still at the bottom of the consolidation range, 114.29.
When we were looking at the equity action earlier, we saw, so worth pointing out that in addition to the Fed, and we'll wait to see, again, I think someone said, welcome to thin tape trade Wednesday, which is exactly right, because I think everyone knows that we've got to get past this press conference where, in recent times, that's really where you get a little bit of a read. And depending on if there is a market reaction, that's where Jay Powell really likes to steer the markets in a different direction if he doesn't think they got the point. So it's right for everyone to be sidelined. But we've got some really big earnings coming out as well. I mean, we are in the thick of earnings season. The direction has been coming from Washington with so many headlines and politics driving, but we are in the thick of earnings now. Is that going to make a difference? And is that going to be what drives later this afternoon when it comes to equities? What have you guys been watching in terms of that? Because semis were leading today, but there wasn't a lot of follow through elsewhere.
Well,
yeah. Look,
go ahead, Blake. Go ahead, Jim. No, I was just saying, we have such big names between today and tomorrow with I do believe you're right, Maggie. The moves that we're going to see coming out of Tesla, Microsoft, Meta today, Apple tomorrow. We have IBM later today as well. We got a couple of credit card companies like MasterCard and Visa also within the next 24 hours that are going to tell us a lot about the consumer. So I think the shift, as long as we don't get anything spectacular coming out of this the press conference, and we get no surprise from President Trump about the new Fed chair, then yeah, I think the attention is quickly going to shift to earnings over the next 24 hours. You got it.
Yeah, and Craig, I know you and Jim you're gonna be on live doing those after the bell earnings. So what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna point out that the Fed kind of moving a little bit to the background here, not as important, not as an impact on volatility per se, kind of, status quo, a little bit of a hawkish bent, on the margin here, but really kind of staying out of the way from being a volatility enhancer. So then, what's really going to move the tape at this point? It's either going to be the president or it's going to be earnings, right? And so we do have, big earnings after the bell. We got Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla, Apple after the close tomorrow. Two interesting earnings today. I mean, or three really. Seagate, memory, Texas Instrument, chips, both very strong. So you're seeing some, discernment by the equity market and saying who are the winners in the AI trade. Plow capital into there. And then interesting reversal we talked about this morning. ASML had huge numbers, a big beat on CapEx, a big beat for the order book and revenues. And the stocks had a $200 intraday reversal from being up a ton to now being down 2% on the day. So we'll see, right? After the close with these names, I think it's going to be very important. Are we going to see the tech leadership, which is starting to grow again here? Over the last 4 days, we've seen NASDAQ outperforming Russell after 3 weeks of Russell performing NASDAQ every single day. So we've had a bit of a shift back. Is that going to continue? Look, if the numbers here are good, and I think the expectations aren't particularly high for any one of these three names. There's been hair on all three stories. So if they come and blow the doors off, NASDAQ will take the lead, and I suspect new highs for NASDAQ by the end of the day. But definitely some risk to the numbers here. People are going to be concerned about the CapEx trends. They don't show up, or the profitability and margins if we're not showing that kind of momentum.
Yeah, I think investors are going to be very worried. Looking at these companies, and are they continuing to take on a lot of debt? Because so far we haven't really seen the end result of that. Investors are getting kind of wary of that, of all the corporate debt issuance of these companies. And so I think people are going to be really watching kind of how much debt, how much more debt are they willing to take on? Are they taking on? So I think that's going to be sort of important to investors.
Yeah, it's the trade everyone loves to hate right now, right? I mean, it's the feeling is there was froth, and and people were really looking for that rotation. So when you see the leadership, it seems like they've got to overcome sentiment right now. Jim, what are you going to be looking for in terms of after hours activity? I'm assuming that's going to really set the tone for equities, at least.
Yeah, I mean, NASDAQ is going to have the most volatility probably, so we'll be really focusing on the NASDAQ indexes. Even S&P probably a little bit less. I'm interested to see where the Russell ends up after going into the end of the day, because the Russell stands to be the biggest loser here with respect to just about anything that happens at the press conference. So, I mean, maybe not, but that's my feeling. I feel like they're going to be the big losers here. Boom, the bell rings. We get the Metas of the world out, and the Nasy's gonna rip one way or the other based on that result. More so than what they would ordinarily do just based on the news conference, I think.
Yeah. One of the other things I wanted to bring up, and Blake, maybe you can take a look at the dollar yen for us, because there's been so much concern about Japan and what's happening over there. And I wonder whether Powell's going to get any questions about this, because there was that story where the Fed checked rates. Maybe there was some sort of coordination going on, and that eased, but a lot of concern about what's happening in Japan.
Well, Treasury Secretary Bessent said today that they did not intervene. He said explicitly they did not, and they didn't need to. By doing the rate check, both we saw the yen strengthen, the dollar weaken, and we saw the dollar yen actually slide all the way to channel support. It's a little bit of a shame, because I was telling all the traders in my community, I'm like, look, I'm just screaming for a 151 level to be on the long side, because now that the yen has strengthened the way that it has this week, there is no risk of the Ministry of Finance or the Treasury stepping in. So he just got ahead of the market, I think, in that regards. But that doesn't mean that intervention's off the table. If we see the dollar yen, if we see the dollar yen rally, or the dollar strengthen against the yen, or the yen continue to weaken, especially against some of these crosses, intervention is going to be right back on the table. Just put us 2 or 3 big figures away from where we're at right now, and that's going to be the talk again going into next week, probably.
Yeah, it's Craig, wondering if you think there'll be a question about what's happening in Japan, because you have these stories of JGBs blowing out, the carry trade will reverse, and the damage that will inflict on global financial markets, and then 2 seconds later somebody will tweet out why that's not true. It's a big battleground on what people think about Japan. It's not something that everyone watches, but if the worst case scenarios were to come true, it's something that should be on every trader's radar. Do you think it'll come up today? Does it matter right now, or are there other things we need to get through in terms of earnings and the Fed conference that are going to dominate?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's certainly important, right? We've seen it pick up in volatility across FX. We've seen these moves in JGBs and German bond yields moving higher as deficit spending becomes top of mind. But with respect to the Fed, they often, talk about international conditions and international financing markets, but specific questions about dollar yen or Powell punts on those. He typically just says that, we don't really necessarily watch the dollar. The dollar's not our business. It's what, that's for Treasury's, department. And so, but like I was mentioning earlier, look, they know that a weak dollar loosens financial conditions. They know the impact that it has on, potential corporate earnings or translation of earnings back. And they know what it means for, the manufacturing sector in the U.S. and maybe the recovery there. So clearly it's on, top of mind inside the Fed. But as far as can they do anything about it, no. And so I think he'll punt on those questions. But look, I think the idea that the Fed needs to push back a little bit against how loose financial conditions have become is important. And I think this statement does do more than people probably were thinking, right? I mean, they basically have said, even after the pretty weak payroll print that we just had, they're saying downside risks to the employment market are gone now, right? The employment market has stabilized. And they're still noting that inflation upside risk to inflation still remains. So they're shifting that balance back from a dual-sided risk to more of an inflation mindset. And they're upgrading their assessment of GDP. They're talking about solid pace of growth in the economy. So, I mean, under normal circumstances with a normal president, whatever that means, people would be asking about, should the Fed be thinking about rate hikes, right? That's what we'd be thinking about here, right? Inflation continues to run reasonably above target, 3% inflation, unemployment rates in the low 4s, clearly at full employment. So why is the Fed even thinking about cutting rates this year? Really doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, we've moved on from the idea that the Fed can never hike rates again, but look, if inflation expectations continue to move higher, if commodity prices move higher, and God forbid if oil prices start to move higher, the narrative shifts pretty quickly.
They are going to.
We'll see if they get a question on that. The market might care if that's the, and we'll like to hear from, those more hawkish on the Fed. Have they moved on in that direction of being a little bit more concerned that, we don't need to be cutting at all, here. And I think after this statement, the idea of a cut during the rest of Powell's term is probably, reasonably off the table unless the data materially deteriorates. But beyond that, why is the first meeting of the new Fed chair in June, why is that going to be a cut in this economy? It really shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's a great point about energy markets. I mean, crude's up another 1.15% today, heating oil 1.6%, RBOB gasoline 1.09%, and these are all inflation inputs, and they finally kind of breaking up to the outside. Crude's been kind of stuck for a while, but now we're talking 63 handle when we couldn't even get over a 59 handle not too long ago.
Yeah, we're actually sitting above the 200 DMA now, and I mean, Craig, you make such a great point about that, and everybody understands that the incoming Fed chair is going to run this economy hot, but the question really is going to be to the rest of the sitting governors and the voting governors, how hot is too hot? How hot could we get this economy?
Well,
look,
again,
I think the
politics, right?
That was it. Yeah. No, I was going to say, look, ultimately the bond market, gets a vote too, right? And so if you think we're in a situation where the economy is firm, inflation expectations are moving higher, commodity prices are pressuring that momentum. And the Fed is kind of going to sit on its hands here. Plus, the president wants a weaker dollar and maybe is more actively looking to get weaker dollar. The bond market's going to sell off. And so the bond market does have a vote, and we'll see. We'll see if yields at the long end, can move higher, do move higher, on that momentum, and aided by what's going on in Japan, what's going on in Germany with respect to, stimulus and deficit spending.
Yeah, Peter Bookvar in his note today pointing out the 2-year inflation break-even has moved up substantially in the past 4 weeks on the 2-year and on the 5-year. So another person wondering whether, what they'll be willing to say about inflation. And who knows whether they'll say today because of all of the attention, and they know that the White House will be firmly focused on it. Maybe they'll sort of try to walk through the middle of it. But, I wanted to ask you, if we do get sort of political theatrics today, we saw when Powell came out and made that video, we saw the bond market react really poorly. We saw a reaction in the bond investors voting with their feet. Craig, to your point, are we in for just more volatility overall until we get through this transition? Is that just the sort of the reality we're in right now?
I mean, the MOVE index as a proxy for Treasury volatility has been on the floor, right? And so I don't think it's going to take a lot to move it. And so, if Powell, moves off script, right? His script has been to deflect and not talk about these things. But if he decides to take a more active role today in addressing some of the independence issues and what his ideas about himself and his future are, I think this, that opens up again this idea of, do they have one pick? Do they have two picks? Who's going to be the Fed chair? Can they pick an extreme dove like Hassett? Do they have to pick somebody else? What's going on there? So I think it wouldn't take a lot to get Treasury volatility to start moving in the upward direction. But so far, it's been kind of a one-way trade. The volatility has been suppressed, and I think that's really helped keep equities afloat despite some of the other cross-asset volatility we're seeing, particularly in FX and precious metals. Yeah.
Tracy, I know you folks have had guests on in the morning talking about the economic fundamentals. One of the things you said they took out of the statement was sort of concern about the labor market, which is interesting coming on a day when we have Amazon laying off thousands of people. I mean, we have had a pretty steady drumbeat of layoffs. What are you hearing from people talking about the labor market? I mean, in the beginning, when I was on with you folks at the beginning of January, it was like, all the job numbers were going to be super important now because that might be the indicator that their sort of economy was weakening underneath. And there are some out there that do think that they don't like housing. They think that the labor market's weak. They think some of the strength we're seeing is a little bit of a mirage. What are you hearing when people are talking about the fundamentals?
So I think that looking forward, I think it's looking weaker than it seems under the hood right now. I want to go back to the Amazon thing and just say that Amazon did announce 14,000 jobs they were laying off. This is an upgrade to the 14,000. This isn't a new 16,000. Just for clarification's sake. But you did have ASML also say that they were laying off 1,700 people this morning as well during their earnings to streamline management. So I think there's two different camps. There's the camp that's looking at the unemployment number. It is low and remains low, historically speaking. And then you have others that are kind of worried about all of these layoffs and what they mean, and that anticipation that we're going to be seeing even more layoffs due to AI, which really haven't materialized at this point.
Yeah, hard to make policy on something like that coming, which hasn't made its way, but it's a worry on sentiment.
I also think there's a question to be addressed, and I don't know if they'll address it today, about, will the rate cuts actually lead to improvements in the labor market, right? Is cost of capital actually the deterrent to hiring, or are there more, structural things going on here in the labor market that are concerning, for the future of employment, specifically related to the AI momentum? And so, with the inflation being above target, above around 3%, cutting rates that aren't going to do anything for the labor market, but may accelerate inflation expectations and reignite inflation fears and animal spirits for the economy, then the Fed has to kind of think, look, maybe this isn't the right move to be taking rates materially lower from where we are right now if they're not going to be effective and actually leading to a pickup in the labor market. I mean, right now the labor market hiring momentum is pretty weak, but the firing momentum is also weak. It's stable, right? And that's why the unemployment rate's not moving all that much. Although the U6 rate, which is underemployed, has moved up a reasonable bit. It did tick back down a little bit in January, but up, I think, at 8.4 or 8.5%. We do get payroll numbers next week. I think that will be, very important. The weekly ADP job creation numbers haven't been particularly robust. I think less than 10,000 a week. So it's a softish labor market. But the question, I think, at some point, the Fed needs to start thinking about is, are these rate cuts really going to do anything for hiring? I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
They're going to do anything for the housing market either.
No.
Yeah. Exactly.
The answer is no on both. No.
What are we
ahead of
the Fed
time?
asking themselves? What are we here for, really? Larry's saying, I wish Powell would just really speak his mind today. Ooh. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if the markets, if that would be a good thing or a bad thing as far as the markets were concerned.
I don't know. I'm looking. I'm on. I have alerts up. So if I just want to see if Trump does actually say anything, and we will let you know because I literally have an alert up every time he tweets. So
yeah, but by the way, if he starts tweeting in anticipation of the actual press, we'll have an idea. We were talking before we came on about the horse race on who's going to replace him and whether there might actually be a simultaneous announcement. Rick Reeder's name was getting mentioned again after this delay. We were thinking we were going to get this news right in the beginning of January, and it's been massively delayed. I mean, at some point they've got it. I mean, they'd have till May, but we don't actually think they're going to take that long.
Well,
do you guys anticipate, Blake, you think that we're going to get something sooner rather than later at this point?
I know the speculation might be today, and we've talked about it. And Tracy, I agree. If Trump wanted to take away the spotlight from Powell, this could be his way to do it. But how does he put himself the head of the Fed? I mean, because if he could put himself in as the head of the Fed, that would have been a done deal. So he's just not. He's not able to find that right person that he thinks, but he keeps mentioning Hassett and he keeps saying, I don't want to lose him. Just kind of like the same way I say, I don't want to go to work today, but I'm going to go to work today. That's the way he keeps referencing the Hassett. Now, whether or not we get an announcement, I would assume we would have had it already, but it seems like the desperate search is on. I think we should all bring in Zervos and vote him in.
It's not Friday. He's a disruptor. It's not Friday afternoon yet. That's when we're going to get this announcement, either Friday afternoon or Saturday morning, and then then he'll have time to tackle out of it by Monday.
Yeah, well, that's true.
It's one way not to move the markets, right? It's to do it over the weekend.
But he almost always makes announcements while the markets are open, which everyone's always also incredulous about, because most of the time they do wait till the markets are closed so that they have time to sort of fill in. But his tendency has been to do it while the market can vote in real time, which is, I guess, good for trade. We're almost getting to the end, but just let's go around and just get final thoughts from all of you in terms of what you're interested in hearing from the presser and what kind of market you're going to be watching most closely. Jim, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching Treasury bonds right now, 114. We're making new lows, 114.27. We almost touched the 24s. This is going to be my gauge of what happens here, regardless of everything else. Equity markets are going to do equity market stuff until we get the earnings this afternoon. Gold, central banks are buying gold. This thing's still rocking and rolling. So bonds are it for me right now. We'll see. We just printed a 26 points. So it's not looking rosy there. Yields are going up on the long end.
Yeah, I think Tether's buying gold too, by the way, which is super interesting. Blake, what about you? What are you watching?
Of course, I'm watching FX, and I think the world circles around the dollar. So, but the dollar's had a hell of a recovery today. Obviously, whenever we stretch as far as we've stretched, I have a hard time, trying to go in that direction, just because I know ranges tend to hold in currencies. But we've had a lot of volatility. I'll be watching the euro around the 120 level. I think 120, I've always thought 120 is going to be a big level to get above. We've struggled over it the last couple of days, but I'm with Jim. Also, yields are on the move. So if yields continue to move, it's going to assist the dollar in rallying. And, we're going to be waiting for Tracy's alert on a Truth Social post from President Trump.
Tracy, aside from keeping your eyes on that, what are you going to be listening for?
Well, I think it's, I noted earlier, I think it's a really notable that this statement has leaned more hawkish. Also, the two dissents, Waller and Myron, were only at 25 basis points, not 50, not something, huge like normal. So they were both at 25 basis points for a dissent. And so that, to me, is a little bit more hawkish for them. But
Interesting
really hawkish,
that Stephen did that because he's been the one that's like cut 100, cut 50. We need this. So that he went 25 is very interesting.
Right, there's a little change of tone from his normal MO, and so I think that's really interesting. So what I'm going to be looking for is how does Powell communicate this, and is he leaning more on the hawkish side? How many times does he mention inflation, say, over the labor market or vice versa? And so that's really what I'll be paying attention to. And of course, always, looking at, I think everybody's going to be watching the bond market for certain for clues.
Yeah, Craig, watch what I'm saying without saying it is Powell's sort of MO. But Craig, final word to you.
Yeah, I'll be watching all that too, but I'm most interested here in watching the who is Trump going to nominate as Fed chair odds. We've seen the Waller dissent has bumped his odds up from sub 10% to about 15% now on Kalshi. But for me, the dark horse remains Kevin Hassett. He's sub 10% pick here. I think he was the choice months ago, and the bond market didn't love it, but in reality, so Besson brought some other guys in for Trump to think about, whatever, but I don't think those other guys really want the job, are going to take the job. I think Hassett's the guy. He's the lackey. Trump can tell him what to do, and he'll just let the chips fall where they may. So looking at making some bets here on Hassett at 7% on Kalshi this afternoon.
I think I've
already got my bet in.
You heard it. The NinjaTrader Live crew is going with the dark horse. Yeah. Fantastic stuff. This is a great conversation and a great setup for this presser that's coming. Tracy and Blake, thank you so much. Just a reminder, Jim and Craig are going to be coming back at the closing bell to cover some of these massive earnings reports that are going to be breaking in real time. So we'll see you both later. But right now it's time to trade the close with Jack, Salma, and Joey.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, how we doing, fam?
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Oh, it's another day in the markets.
You guys trade today?
No, not in the personal account. I took some trades in the prop accounts, but personal account we left that one alone.
Smart.
I took some positions in the Russell, Bitcoin earlier, and Dow, and I'm out of all of those with little to no progress, basically just a scratch across the board. I'm still long Bitcoin for my original entry, and then I actually just got long the yen, which is probably not something most people trade on here, but that's the 6J futures contract. That's what I got on right now, long yen, long micro Bitcoin. I didn't want to I don't really like the action in the indexes right now, and I know it's going to be fireworks as soon as Powell gets on, and these positions will go one way or the other very quickly.
Yeah, it's there's a lot happening today. I mean, we have FOMC obviously, and then we have a lot of earnings after the bell, and so for me, it's just kind of sit back and let the market do its thing, and see if we might get an opportunity this afternoon in the prop accounts, but there's a lot happening today. A lot of news.
Yeah, I took my eye off of oil. In my morning trade plan, I had a 62.62 long order or buy plan, and then I just was looking at so much and also not paying attention to the details kind of thing on a day like today because things were moving so slow. I mean, we sold off from the open in the indexes, and I wasn't really feeling like getting short. We kind of got down to the levels I was anticipating, but then again, I didn't really want to go long.
Yeah.
So that's why I've moved to some of the other markets here. I do think Bitcoin's been building. My thought on the whole Bitcoin trade is if you look at the structure of Bitcoin over the last couple of days here, we've really been making higher highs and higher lows. I'll pull up like a 15-minute chart. But this was kind of my favorite trade. I had tweeted about this, but if you look at this chart, you can kind of just see that we've been making those higher highs and higher lows for the last couple of days, coming down to this base area. And I've seen a couple of like stats that talk about Bitcoin is, at least the belief is that it's a dollar hedge or a hedge on inflation. Although with the runs in gold and silver, we really haven't seen any participation in Bitcoin. And I do think that'll eventually turn around. I don't know if that happens today, but if we do end up closing strong here today, it's going to be something I'm paying attention to. But until Jerome gets on the microphone, that's we're not going to know what that is, true or not. But
We placing any wagers on his first words being "good afternoon"?
Is that a Kalshi bet? Can we place that?
It probably is.
The odds got to be high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got to be super high.
That's hilarious.
It's the most expensive "good afternoon" you'll ever hear in your life.
It's great. I don't ever really pay attention to those individual bets and stuff, but that's gonna be funny to watch. I say you go for it, Joey. Go for it and let us know. I got $50 on it. How about
there
that?
we go.
Before it used to be like, oh, what tie is he wearing? But that doesn't work anymore. Now he just wears a purple tie all the time.
Yeah, it was purple. What was the other one? Was it what was the other tie?
Blue.
Blue. Yeah.
Blue.
Starting to pick up your Russell's moving here in the last. Is he speaking then? I guess
he's definitely talking now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could have his audio on right now, but that would drown out the noise. Sometimes I'll be like, Alexa, turn on Bloomberg Radio, and then just listen to whatever he's saying for the first 10 minutes.
Guaranteed, you probably just set off someone's whole house just then.
Probably. They're usually trained for like.
That's actually hilarious. That's actually bad.
Please tell me I did. Please tell me. We're gonna have some loud speakers for that to go through.
Or the Alexa's right next to it.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
That's gonna have to go on the no word list. Things we can't say. Yeah. Hey Google. Can we run this as like a test here? Hey Google, we're gonna go Siri, go down the line. What other ones are there? I don't even know.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
No, there's Siri.
Siri. So yeah, Siri. Google.
Well, besides Siri, yeah.
That's funny.
The old jam bars in the indexes. That's what we're gonna get. Alrighty here.
Captain Price saying buy NQ. For me personally, I would wait till Jerome Powell's done. I mean, that's just me. I don't know about maybe you guys have a different opinion, but I don't like buying or selling or when Jerome Powell is talking. I like to wait till after all the questions are done and see what market does after that.
Yeah, if I have like a pretty good structure or something, I want to place a limit. But like yesterday, I actually mentioned on stream my profit target in the NASDAQ on a higher time frame. All of this week at the beginning of my morning trade plan, my profit target was 26,327s, and we completed that overnight. And the NASDAQ sold off all morning. So I'm just a little curious because we've been in this, bullish move all week long. Now that we've hit that profit target that I'm looking at, usually we need bigger pullbacks from those levels. So based on the structure here today, I mean, it's not really looking bullish. Even if we were to rally, it's all going to be the earnings. I mean, the tech. So yeah, I think any move is going to get jammed back down either direction or jammed back up.
Yeah.
Direction in the NASDAQ for sure. And that's why I'm staying away from that market here today.
Yep, 100%. It's Futch. I'm probably butchering your name. How's the green streak going? It's still intact. It is still intact. It's at 42. We're on a 42-day green streak. We are still cooking.
Looking at Green Street, huh?
Yeah. It's it's moving.
Salma, how about you? I know you asked us a question, but what do you got going on here today?
No, statistically, like FOMC CPI, they're usually like my worst days. So I tried to take a few trades on gold earlier. It didn't really work out in my favor. Every time I tried to do something, it would do the opposite. And then, after a few minutes, I checked back and it actually ended up going the way I wanted it to. So that was a little disappointing. But I'll probably sit cash for the rest of the day unless I see something really, really good. But I highly doubt it. I try to just, take a hike on FOMC days, but gold got me today.
Hey,
I got
stick to
sucked
the
in.
rules. They always get
Yeah.
you.
They do somehow, some way, they always get you.
Those darn market makers, they know what you want to see on the chart to create the pattern. They're like, all right, we're gonna get Salma in this one. We're gonna
It's
throw.
crazy, dude, because it's like gold was making such nice moves this morning, and then finally we were able to trade on Tradeovate again. So I was like, let me see what the market's doing. Look at gold. Gold was looking good. So, and as soon as I enter, it starts doing crackhead things. And I think partly it's my fault for, if I was sized a little bit more appropriate, then I probably could have, withstood a bit more drawdown. And then I wouldn't have gotten stopped out. If you look at gold, gold's got some nasty wicks. And yeah, it ended up just going straight to my target that I wanted it to. And then it hit my target. Target was high day, exactly where gold hit. I'll show you guys actually on the screen. How do I do this? Okay. Yeah. It literally tapped into my 5.5 standard deviation, and then that's where we started to sell off. And that was my TP that I wanted on my gold trade. But of course, we got these shenanigans here. This is the candle that kind of screwed me, this 1230 candle, this long wick. And then, of course, as soon as it stopped me out, we get this crazy candle here, hits my TP, or what would have been my TP, and then it dropped back down. But it's looking good. Gold is still, it's doing great. It's holding the midpoint of the 30-minute opening range. Buyers stepped in where they needed to. And I would say it's moving relatively better than the indices right now, just comparing the two between ES and gold.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not that great. Not that great.
Yeah, I got a limit way below in gold just in case there was one of those sharp moves lower that gets reverted. I had a limit down at 52.34, which is $100 below where we're currently trading. But
holy moly, you're looking for a crazy candle.
well, I mean, we have a 200-point day here for FOMC to get 100 points down. On some comment, it wouldn't be rare.
You know what? Actually, you're right, because this is like my first time looking at gold in quite a while. I was eyeing silver, but silver, I'm done with silver. But anyway, so like I'm looking at gold, and it's 10-point candles are the norm on the 1 minute. Like these 5-minute candles are looking so crazy, and I don't know if it's been that way for a long time or I'm just finally looking at the chart again.
Yeah,
But
I mean, the volatility has definitely increased.
100%. Yeah. It's been pretty sick. It's wild to see that gold has gone up to 5,300, dude. Like that's just insane. What a
I mean,
rally.
we're on a casual 4% day, and I believe what is the largest asset class in the world. There's no larger asset right now than gold, if I'm not mistaken. So for that to have a 4% day, it takes a lot of money to move. Yeah, we're going through. I mean, we'll see what the end game ends up being, what the final event is on this blow off top. But there's been, of course, the long-term speculation of an eventual reversion historically all fiat currencies at some point revert back to a physical standard. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but if that happens in our lifetime, that'll be very interesting for the
Yeah.
markets.
Oh man.
And
Yeah,
that's
that
what
would
it's
be.
trading, that's what it's trading like to me. That's what it's trading like. It's trading like a lot of people know a lot of something that's coming. And I also looked at an interesting chart. It was like the relative ownership of, retail investors own a lot of stocks, but very few own physical, that hard assets like gold and silver as a percentage of their portfolio. So like, realistically, like mom and pop retail is still way behind that market as far as ownership. And it's still ripping, which is kind of interesting. Usually it's the blow off top is the retail pile in, which we're not seeing. I don't see people going to rushing and buying gold coins at the store yet. But when they do, maybe that's the answer.
Should have listened to my mom when she told me to buy gold or buy more of it.
Yeah, it's like, how do we get a time machine? Let's go back in time. Start buying some gold, buying some gold and buying some silver.
If you had a
Okay.
time, you'd be the richest man in the world.
Oh yeah, 100%. Chat, who has it, bro? Which one of y'all has a time machine?
Don't tell us if you do. You'll get taken out by the beans. They'll whack you for sure.
Bro.
You'll have the who knows at your door.
All right, so far ES is doing really nothing. We're still in the range of that 2 p.m. 5-minute candle when the decision came out. So, oh, just to note, by the way, I noticed this earlier today. We have a 30-minute gap on ES on regular trading hours. It's a small gap, but if sellers wanted to, they could push price down to fill it. Definitely make note of it, 69.81 to 69.88. Always be mindful of those gaps.
Be interesting to see what happens with earnings today after hours.
I can't wait for earnings to be over. I just hate that word so much. Earnings.
Yeah, if I were to guess, we're eventually going to trade lower before higher, but not like significantly lower. But that's just a guess.
I mean, that's usually what we've been doing. Every time we make a new all-time high, we sweep a new high. We sweep and make a new high, and then we have a nasty sell-off, and then we climb back up, make another high, and then, sell back down. So wouldn't be too out of the ordinary if we did actually drop.
And off the Sunday night low, we've had almost a 4% move to highs in the NASDAQ. It's about very close to 1,000 points and about 980 points. So it just makes you think: are they, is it getting front run, or is there still good things to have? But I tell you what, I don't think they're making any less money than they made last quarter. It got leaked that Amazon was going to lay off 12,000 jobs, I think.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That was recent?
Yeah, I believe that was today.
Oh, wow. I did not see that.
Why, do you work for Amazon? Are you worried?
No. I have a.
Wait, hold on. I got to call somebody.
Yeah, I got to make a quick phone call real quick. No, I don't know anybody that works at Amazon or anything, but it's interesting that they're laying off more jobs. It seems that's been like a common theme with them.
Well, I mean, the automation, ideally, the automation is supposed to free up capital or free up humans, and eventually job losses. I don't know if that's this or them just doing a general sweep of staff to get rid of lower producers. I'm not an economist or an insider at any of these companies, but
yeah,
I think we are probably going to see more of that with automation, more layoffs, and then maybe margin expansion because of the reduction in labor costs or human capital. which these companies, if you ever look at the numbers, I don't know if you guys have ever seen where it's like how much money each company makes per employee.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think Netflix is one of the highest of how much money they make per employee, which is really interesting. It's
Wow.
like, a few $100,000 or more. You can Google it, but it is an interesting stat to see. Like every employee, the revenue per employee is hundreds of thousands, if not some of them maybe over $1 million an employee they make as a company.
When Nasdaq's really just ranging here. Stuck. Powell's probably still speaking, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He
Yeah,
won't be
usually-
done for another maybe 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually goes about a half an hour. And then sometimes the market moves after he leaves.
Mhm.
Like if there's no reaction to him talking, it's like, okay, once he stops talking, the market gets to its business.
I wonder if it's going to move after he's done or if it's still going to wait for earnings.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
The biggest mover, it's going to be, earnings are going to be the one candle move, right? Like that's clearly going to be a bigger move after earnings than when he stops talking. It's what the market moves on, right? Earnings are what's what it's supposed to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. We have Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla. I'm more interested in Tesla than the other two, but
For what? Tesla disappoints at every single event that they have. What are you interested in? I would love to know.
because I load the boat in my IRA for Tesla. I will always load the boat with Tesla.
If you're in shares, you're fine.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
I'm a
chilling.
long-term holder. I will never sell out of Tesla.
Yeah, I don't expect, I could be wrong, but I don't expect this earnings to be any different than any of their other earnings. Same with any other events.
Yeah. Meta's put so much money into building infrastructure that I'm interested to see, how they talk about those costs and the impact of those costs. That's what I think more than any of them I'm going to be paying attention to, because the downstream effect of if they believe they're turning a profit on or see a profit at the end of the day on all of those costs of those data centers, I think will affect then NVIDIA and downstream all of the other companies. I'm kind of most interested in Meta's earnings from that standpoint. But I don't own any of them, so it doesn't matter to me. I root for you, Joey. I root for you, and I want a freaking robot to do my laundry.
Yes, I'm buying the robot, dude. What is it? What was it, like 20K or something like that?
Well, if it does laundry, I'm in.
Yeah.
But like, I don't need a robot to hang out with. I still have real life friends, but maybe one day I won't.
Wait, so you're telling me day traders can still have real life friends?
Only if you leave the house.
What are these real life friends?
Oh my gosh, I love it. So Nat Gas rolled today. I don't know. I mean, you guys probably don't watch that chart, but it's so crazy to see like the price of Nat Gas in the previous futures contract being like $7, and now as we roll, it's 370. It's like literally cut in half.
Yeah, someone mentioned it earlier today. Insane.
I don't think that's ever happened. That big of a drop on a roll on a dollar basis. Okay, Bitcoin's holding the low. I was like up on one and down on my other trade, basically even. But if we can hold this Bitcoin low and start moving back up, I'm gonna blow up this Bitcoin chart one more time and just the old halfway back. A lot of what I do is just old halfway backs. just drawing tool, Fibonacci retracement. You take that low here and draw it to the high, and just come on into a little halfway back, a 50% retracement. So that's what we're doing there in Bitcoin. That's what we're holding. And my expectation, I have my target really, really high just in case something crazy happened on FOMC, but I'm going to drop it down to like 90, 100 here.
Nice.
It's a nice pop.
If we can get it, I mean, you can't count your chickens before they hatch or your profits before they get closed, but
Gold making another push higher.
surprise.
I don't want to hear about gold today.
Oh no, we're not talking about gold. Oh,
Wait,
you
you
were
said it made a
long.
new high. It didn't make a new high yet.
No. I say it's making a push higher. Like
Oh, okay.
it's trying to get up there.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jack?
You said you were long gold. That was your trade before, and then you just got wicked out.
Dude, it was just back and forth with gold. It was not good.
Yeah, those are some wide ranges to ride.
Yeah, you have to like either have, you gotta either size appropriately so that you can withstand like any potential drawdown, or you need to just have just a wider stop and be okay with that. We're still in this 2 p.m. candle range, so even though we're pushing, they're not really pushing us too high.
I'm going to move my stop up in the yen now.
Curious if gold's gonna try to make a new high on the day.
I don't think I'm getting that fill at 52.34 anymore. So
order canceled.
That thing's getting canceled.
Yeah, it's moving.
Is Powell done? No, I think he's still talking. He will continue to talk probably into like 3:05, 3:10 p.m.
What's the over under on that, Salma? You're gonna take that?
No, I'm telling you. Watch, we'll see when I'll get the financial juice. It'll say Powell ends his remarks. We'll see what time that is.
See what's Nasdaq doing. Is Nasdaq still ranging, or is it trying to move? Nasdaq's trying to get back up to IB low. Be curious to see if we break back in the IB range.
Order submitted.
IB low on NAS is 205.
Order submitted.
Trading
Order
195.
submitted.
Order submitted.
I guess I'm the only one that has the audio on.
Yeah, I turned all mine off.
Order filled.
Order rejected.
I like it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Nasdaq getting back in the IB.
Yeah, I know Jim was saying he was really liking to watch the Russell out of here. I kind of feel the same. So if the Russell's peaking up, I'd really like to trade that. We've been inside of this range in the Russell from 2660 to 2690 area. And if we can break out of that, I think we got a quick move to 2750s in just a few days. So I will be keeping my eye on that in the overnight session.
Bro, production is so funny. That's hilarious. Guys, if you thumb up the stream enough, I will record the NT alerts for everyone to use. I will be the voice. That might get us some thumbs downs. I don't know. Thumb downs. So far, this is nothing burger. Did you guys hear the rumors about how like Trump might announce the new Fed chair during Powell's speech just so that he can like mute out Powell's whatever Powell says, it would mute him out so that Trump can basically be the one to move the market.
So that's supposed to happen right now.
Oh no, it's not supposed to happen. It's just what some people were
Well, that's the
expecting that.
rumor is that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the no. On that thing.
We a little bit towards no too. Like that would be insane. That would
I
be
feel like
quite
that's
the
so
move.
normal. That would be super normal though for him. I don't think it would be like super far-fetched. Seems like something he'd do.
Yeah,
what
it
are the
does.
odds? What are the odds?
Over under.
Yeah, what's the Kalshi odds that Trump tweets about affirming the new Fed chair during?
Yeah,
I
maybe
think
if Powell tanked.
Now he's probably not stirring the pot.
Maybe if Powell tanked the market, then he would have come out and.
Yeah, no, he's got to make sure. We'll see if the market goes up or not first, and then he'll make his decision.
Yeah.
All right.
If NQ wants to get back inside the IAB and show me something there, I am not opposed to longing NQ or MNQ. I really want to see it get back in the IAB range though.
Order submitted.
I am going to be getting long Russell. I got an order at 68.6.
Order submitted.
What'd you just do, Jack?
Place an order in the Russell if we get a little bit of a pullback to 2668.6. This is place the limit. So we did the standard FOMC ATR expansion lower, ATR expansion higher, took out the 5-minute hot, like the 30-minute high range, took out the the low, took out a low of the day, and then started building structure back higher. So the way I see it is, everybody got screwed. And then the market chose a direction, which right now seems to be up. And I'm just looking to buy a little pullback with, I'll be able to place my stop right below that 240 low, which is, how many points? That's about like 7 points. Not a great trade, but because I don't really see a lot of explosive move to the upside here into the end of the close prior to earnings. So I think I'd maybe get like a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, maybe like a 1 to 1.5. I'd be lucky to get a 1 to 3, but we'll see if I get a fill. We're also at the midpoint.
Hope you do.
NASDAQ getting a small little pullback here.
Tracy jumping it. All right, chat. How's everybody doing? What's your favorite trade right now? Can we get some likes? Okay, we only got like 150 likes right now. Give me some likes for trading the yen. Give me some likes for the PT I'm about to hit in the yen. Nobody's traded the yen here yet.
You really are Jack of all trades.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a small position long here on NQ, anticipating we do get back up into the IB range here.
Here we go. We got 26 likes out of that. Let's go.
More.
Here we go. If I hit this PT, I got 2 PTs, but one PT is just a few ticks away. And then my remainder of my stop up to break even.
Guys, just a reminder that NinjaTrader just put a link in the chat. You should register to compete for this 4-way battle that will be happening. Let me see, what's the date? Should know this because I'm part of it. Okay, it's in a week from now. It starts on the 4th. It's a 1-day competition. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Literally, cash prizes are on the line. Everybody should be signing up. And then
All right. I want to know if I can sign up.
you can. You can. I'm
All right.
signed up.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
I'm about to sign up as well.
Yeah, I'm clicking that link, but I think I'm gonna go with. I gotta go with Nick's link just because I spend the most time on stream with Nick. Gotta find out where his link is.
I think probably on his Twitter. Yeah, if you guys want to support any one of the guys on this, that are part of the four-way, then you guys can use their link. Go to their Twitter and sign up with their personal link. I signed up without anybody's link, not knowing that there were personal links. So, oops.
Well, that's good. You're staying agnostic. You're playing neutral.
Yeah. Salma, why don't I see you in there? It's just a four-way competition. The guys made it.
Order filled.
But I'll definitely be competing. And probably that whole day, I'll just be trading that sim account.
Order submitted.
Trying to climb up the leaderboard with you guys.
Order submitted.
I think they are scared.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Jack, I'm gonna need you to mute. I'm gonna need you to mute that.
Order
know
submitted.
Oh
Order
God.
submitted. Order submitted.
Does it? I don't know. Does it pull the audio from my computer, or is it just?
Yeah, we hear it.
No, I know you hear it, but I'm just wondering if it's coming because it's picking up like the actual. Like, oh, it's through my mic. Oh, okay. Well, you got to know the people. Like, people ask me, like, "Hey, tell me when you take a trade." I'm like, "Dude, my computer screams when I take the trade." Just so you guys know, this is what my trade looks like. Just bringing it into view so you guys can visually see it. I got my stop just below, this structure here. I think we should stay above it. Just buying, pullbacks into this breakout, and if we do get a continuation long, I'm gonna give it 25 minutes from the entry. It's 3:00 now, so by 3:30, if we're not moving, I'm gonna be doing cutting this position.
Nice. I have a long entry on NQ at what is this? 77, 177.
Order filled.
All right.
Nice. Let's go. Pay the trader.
Yeah, that is
Cancel.
partial on my 6J, and then I just reduced my stop.
I want to see NQ give me that pop into IB here, and I'll start trailing my stop.
Give me 200 likes for the PT hit for the first time ever on a 6J on the NinjaTrader stream. Can we get 200? We need 7 more.
Sitting at about 10 points in profit right now on this trade.
Here we go. Thank you. Thank you. Nice, Joey. Sorry, what'd you put on?
I'm 3 micros long at 177 on NQ.
Let's go.
I want to see us move again above 207, get back above the IB there, and I'll feel this trade will look really good. As long as buyers can hold
Nick,
the bid.
drop your link in the chat. Oh wait, I guess people aren't allowed to put links in chats.
I don't think you can.
Mods have to do it. Tweet it out, Nick. I'll sign up for yours. I feel so left out. Salma, do you think they're afraid of having us in there? Is there fear?
Probably. No, I think how many more people could you really add to this thing, right? Like,
Oh yeah, it's a one-day competition, right?
yeah. I think if we stream, I don't know if I'm streaming that day or not. Actually, let me see. If we're streaming, then I'll just trade that the entire day. Oh, Jack, I think we're streaming together that day, the 4th.
Well, looks like we're playing.
Oh God. Yeah, I would just.
And everybody else should too. Make sure you guys signed up.
What time does trading start on the competition? Yeah, it's from 9:30 to 5, 9:30 Eastern time to 5 p.m. I think though, Nick can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the guys for their four-way competition, they're gonna probably cut it out at 4 p.m. They'll all agree to just get out of their position at 4, and whoever's in first place by then will be the winner. But for you guys, it goes until 5. Jack, it should be fun. You'll probably like the fact that, let me see. We'll go over what you can trade.
Yeah, give us
I
the
have to
details
log
on the
in.
competition. Pitch
I
it.
got you. I have to log in. One sec. Stand by, please. Okay, so first place winner gets $1,000. Second to fifth place get $500 each. And then sixth to 15th place get $200. So it's basically the top 15 traders of that day will win something. Everybody starts with a $50,000 account, and then you are allowed to trade only 4 products. You can trade 3 mini let me say this correctly. Let's go back. Hold on. You can trade ES and NQ up to 3 minis each. And then you can only trade micro, silver, and gold up to 5 micros each. Those are the only 4 things that you can trade. And then you have basically the entire day to trade them. So you can be in a position on all 4 at the same time if you wanted to.
Cool. I like it. Is it a Monday?
No, it is Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Okay. Little hump day
Yeah.
action. Oh, get you going in the middle of the week.
I think that's the day where they're all like, they're all on stream together during the morning. I don't know if they'll be streaming the entire day, but actually they won't be streaming the entire day because we're on. So yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
NQ trying to give me this push here. Still have to get above IB at 207 and trading 194.
Oh, here we go. Trump's Fed chair pick may come in a week or so. That just dropped.
I love the vague post.
Yeah, don't you love that?
It may come.
It may or may not happen.
It may, it could, but maybe.
But probably not.
Joey, what kind of targets you looking at here for this NQ?
My target is above IB at 207. However, I'm going to try to let it ride. So if we can pop above 207 there, I'll move my stop and profit there at IB low and try to let it ride.
Yeah, it's looking good. I would have a 26,233 target there on NQs. But yeah, we just need to push up and get acceptance above that 207. But
yeah,
otherwise, that's going to be like top of the range. But with an hour left, I would imagine we at least jam higher. I don't know if we're going to hold up there, but I think if you win, I win because I'm long Russell. Separate markets, but my Bitcoin is giving me heartburn. It's not doing anything.
Yeah, Nasdaq's kind of doing the same. We try to get a push higher, sellers come through. We try again, sellers come through. It's just kind of ranging here.
I remember when FOMC days used to be exciting. They literally used to be fun to trade. Not no more.
Yeah, I will say that, PA today was for FOMC, it was pretty lackluster, to be honest.
Was some sleepy action, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when it's a known event and you have a couple of unknown events that everybody wants to trade off of, that's the result.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to just get out of the rest of this 6J. Oop, my stop.
I would say really the only trade on the indices that you could have really taken is just, the drop at the open. And if you just held shorts, you would have gotten paid.
Yep, I agree. That was definitely the best trade, shorts off the open in the indexes.
Yeah.
The second best trade is long the Russell post Jerome speaking, which I'm currently in.
We just got the first 5-minute candle close above the 2 p.m. candle. So let's see if bulls can continue to push this thing up. Pay Joey.
Hey.
Is homeboy off the mic? I forgot if that was mentioned.
We're trying.
Powell is still speaking, by the way. So.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he is. He's going longer.
Yeah. He's still talking.
All right, we're right here retesting IB low. So you can give me a push above here.
I'm trading from a couch for the first time ever.
Nice.
I was gonna say your setup is looking different.
Yes, I have never traded from a couch before. I have one of those, those like coffee tables that lift up and like pull out like that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah, that's basically what I have. My computer is sitting right now.
All right, trading at IB low here. I am going to move my stop to at least break even right now. We're pretty well into profit, so no really point in letting this thing pull back and turn red on me.
Is that Salma? Oh, that's Salma's screen on the right?
Let me see.
Okay. And now it's Joe's. Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to take a look at your position. I know you guys use TradingView, so I don't see like the position tracker. So I'm like always have to like zoom in with my eyeballs that don't work because I've been staring at screens for 15 years.
Yeah, trading off a Mac Studio, I can't use the position
Ninja.
tracker.
Yeah, can't use the Ninja platform.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that is very taxing to run parallels.
Yep.
Catch any sunsets? I would say so. I'm gonna be catching some sunsets. I'm heading to Naples on Saturday. I'm gonna find out where Crudele lives, and I'm gonna find out what he uses for shampoo. And then I'm gonna catch some sunsets because that's on the, I guess it'd be the west side. I'm catching some sunrises here in Miami. Of course, the sun does still set in Miami, but it's been past. Sunday was great. Monday was 84, and then we're sitting down here with 60 degrees. And I made a joke on Twitter. I went outside yesterday. It was like 61 degrees, and people literally had like winter hats on. I was like, this is
I like that tweet. Yeah.
hilarious. People are like, oh, it's so cold. What are you talking about? It's so nice for me. I mean, I don't want to go outside in a t-shirt, but I can enjoy the weather.
You're like, you don't know cold. Are you meeting up with Deli?
No, I'm just joking. But my dad just had hip surgery, and I'm going to go visit them, help them out. And did hip surgery this morning at 7:30. He was home by 11 o'clock, which is crazy.
Wow. Hopefully, Hoping for a speedy recovery for your dad.
Yeah, I mean, just painful. I'm sure, you know, they got him all. My mom said he's all hopped up on painkillers right now, so he's super jolly. But I'm sure once that pain rests in, you know, he'll have to deal with it. But happy everything went well, no complications. So your limit orders are halfway back. You mean 50% retracement? Yes, 50% retracement, halfway back, mid, whatever anybody prefers. I call it a halfway back or a 50% retracement, but I know some people are offended by that.
It's the midpoint. Thank you very much. No, I'm joking. I don't care what you call it.
Right? It's called this, it's called that.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah, that's not what I'm here, like, depending on what you call it does not make you any more money. So I don't concern myself with those things, but.
Chat, I need one of you guys to go move the NASDAQ higher for me. Who's got it, bro? Help your boy.
You did this to yourself.
I did. Just can't get it above IB low, man. Just say it's like we go up and test it. Now we're rejecting it. So I might get tapped here for break even, but it's okay.
Yeah, I don't like that 5-minute candle close. This thing looks like it wants to come right back down.
Yeah.
Powell has to stop talking. And we'll move. If we're not moving when he's talking, we're going to move when he stops. That's my theory.
We took a peek above IB low, but just couldn't maintain it.
Yeah, let's see if they use that, 2 p.m. candle high as support and buyers step in, or this thing just comes right back down. He's still talking, by the way, so.
He's feeling chatty today.
That is crazy. Yeah, he's going overtime today, huh?
Yeah, Tracy said it's a snooze fest. He's not really saying too much, and you can clearly see that in the market. Reactions aren't that great.
That's great.
HSC, NQ all-time highs today after earnings. I'm thinking quite probable. How far are we to all-time highs on NQ?
I don't think we're that far off of it.
No, we're not.
I think it's up
We're
like
200
600, right?
points. 200 points away.
We have some orders here in Bitcoin.
Honestly, NQ looks a little bit stronger than ES here. You need ES to kind of cooperate for those all-time highs. But yeah, it could definitely happen. If it's going to happen, it could happen from earnings. I mean, 200 points is nothing.
Al done speaking. All right, here we go. Start your timers.
There you go.
Now rip. Send it.
Well, oh, that was Bitcoin actually moving. I was like, not that it's moved far, but I just lowered my target because I've been in this trade long enough. I'm not going to reach for new highs.
Fractal, stop it.
Come on, NQ. Show me something. Show me something.
If you are not new to the channel and have not yet subscribed to NinjaTrader Live, make sure you do so now. We are producing content, and the more subscriptions and the more likes we have, the more content we're going to do.
You've got to pump it up.
There we go. I'm thinking 180,000 subscribers by next week. And
I
that's
think so.
Doable, feasible.
Yeah, I think that's doable. I like that.
What are you guys giving away at 200,000?
what are we giving away? Are we
Yeah.
required?
Yeah.
I'll
We're not
sign-
required. You
I'll
said you're gonna
autograph-
sign it?
I'll autograph it and send it out.
I'm dead.
I have 2 mouses, by the way, because I'm a psychopath who uses 2 computers at the same time.
Dude, I think I might have to do that. Ever since I connected my Mac Mini, I have like the universal, I don't know what it's called, but the universal thing where like my mouse goes across my laptop and the Mac Mini. And it keeps freezing on me. I ChatGPT'd it. ChatGPT says that it's because I'm using a third-party wireless keyboard instead of like a Mac, like an Apple one. So I keep losing.
It's such nonsense that like a third party mouse wouldn't work.
No. So I have an Apple mouse.
Uh,
It's just I have a third-party keyboard. I don't have
Yeah,
an
okay.
Apple keyboard.
I see.
Mm.
A wireless keyboard, that is. So it keeps freezing on me and it will get stuck on the Mac Mini, like my monitor that's connected to the Mini. It's annoying as hell. So I might either have to bite the bullet, get an Apple keyboard, or use 2 mouses. Or is it mice? Mice.
I got mice on my desk.
Mice.
Mice. Is it geese goose? Geese goose?
Geese.
Moose meese?
All right, stop.
Bro, NASDAQ tried again and is now rejecting, bro. I feel like I'm gonna be in this trade for 3 business days.
I don't think this is gonna work. Unfortunately, I would love to see it work.
I mean,
For your
we
sake,
got
Joey.
to 205 and IB low is literally 207. It's like just one little pop. And
You're
now I
being
got
what they
and
like.
now I got Salma doubting me.
No doubt. I want you to win. I want you to win. But you
She's
are
like,
what
your
they
trade's
like
not
to
gonna
call-
work, Joey.
You are being what they like to call a dick for a tick. You need to just take your money and get out.
Sometimes
2
you gotta,
points.
I want like
2
I want
points are
like
not gonna
30
make
more
you.
points on this.
2
if
points
it's
are
not
gonna make
moving,
you.
are you wrong?
That is true. I've been in profit for majority of this trade.
I mean, if you were to put your stop strictly based on structure, where would it go?
Based on
If
structure,
if you were entering a new trade right now and you were to put a stop based on structure, where would it go?
152.
Where's your stop?
Break even right now.
All right.
He's just drinking a Coke. Is that a DC or a regular Coke?
No, that's a Coke Zero, baby.
Oh my God. Bro, you're an unk.
How
Oh,
am I
man.
unk?
You're telling me you
I
drink
mean,
regular
I'm an
Coke?
unk because I'm drinking Coke Zero. I mean, I know I'm old, but
Brother,
Yeah, I don't know anyone who drinks Coke Zero, not gonna lie.
bro, Coke Zero is fire.
First of all, I've had Coke Zero today, so you know two unks in here.
You guys just proved my point. Oh my God.
Yeah, we all get it. You're the youngest on the team.
Oh, chat is Team Coke Zero. Wow, I didn't
There it
know
is.
that.
See?
I didn't know Coke Zero had such a big fan base. My grandparents drink it.
And now NASDAQ's trying to give me my move again. So I don't know, Salma.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's either they use this 2 p.m. candle high as that support and you slingshot off of that, or this thing just fails and probably new lows. This is so boring though.
It is.
That's correct. With age comes wisdom, and production is split on Coke Zero. Is it
That's crazy.
Is the younger group of production non-Coke Zero? Because maybe there is a consensus going on here where the unks drink the Coke Zero. This could be a thing.
Jacob said, a lot of people turn to Coke Zero, but not me. Says that with so much pride. Yeah. I really don't drink soda, so
I can't
Doesn't really
drink
matter.
regular Coke anymore. Like I'm so used to Coke Zero. It's like I try the regular Coke and it's so sugary and sweet. I'm just like it's too much.
Good question. What the heck is the 6J? It would be the Japanese yen, which is it's a great trending market right now. That I didn't think it was going to be too impacted. It was at some supports going into FOMC. I don't often trade currencies, but the yen has been a big talk now. And I just moved markets to what's moving. And the yen really on Friday of last week, they're even trying to get quotes whether or not the US Treasury is going to intervene in the yen. But if you take a look at the yen on the higher time frame, which I will just show you guys right here, if a market's moving, I can trade it. I don't need to know anything about it. I don't know anything that's going on in Japan right now. I don't need to know what's going on in Japan, but we just really big sweep higher and just kind of retested that breakout point. That's why I got long and just started to see some buyers come in. And so that's what I'm trading. I moved my stop loss break even, but I'm literally long the 5-minute low candle of the day, which makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. Sometimes you take trades like, I know what I'm doing. But
As soon as I start to think like that is when I get humbled. Never fails. As soon as I'm like, I got a grip on the market. No, you don't. Frank, I don't think Jack is using any prop firms. I think he's using his cash account.
I also have 5 take profit live accounts.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you can have more than one live account.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know anything about take profit, so.
Yeah, you can have
some of them consolidate and some of them don't. I don't know how they manage it on their side.
you can have 5 live accounts with Tradeify too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, it gave me the move above, saw 210 and then rejected. So I might get tapped on this one actually.
Can you guys recall a time where FOMC was this lame? I can't.
I don't remember the last one being too impactful, but then again.
This is like the least reactive FOMC I've ever seen. Like, price action is just crap. We had better price action leading into FOMC than during.
It's solely because we have earnings, and that's what everybody's.
I don't think. I don't know. I don't think so. Like,
well, what's your theory?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a theory. Yeah, I don't know.
The risk is going to be put on based on earnings data as opposed to an event known.
I mean, but you can argue that the earnings, everybody knows there's going to be earnings.
Everybody does not know what those earnings are.
True. But same with like Powell though. You could say that today he could have came on through a curveball.
Yeah, but
everybody offside.
There's you can Google. It's called the CME dot plot, and they have the Fed telegraphs what they're going to do. It's like every few years is there a surprise rate cut or something like that. It's like very rare, especially when things are kind of as calm as they are right now. But I mean, it's just, the markets is waiting to put on risk. They need the confirmation of the numbers. And there's been a huge move into this week. I mean, we're up 800 points. That Sunday night gap down was a gift. And I love Sunday nights because you do get those opportunities to maybe buy a low of the week.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to swing trade, if you're a swing trader and you're not hitting the desk Sunday night at the open, you're making a mistake. I don't do a whole lot of swing trade, but I probably hit 50% of the Sunday night opens at my desk just because there is those, just, you can, if you get in a market and we are in a trend, you can hold that all week long.
Yeah, I like tuning into the Sunday show. It's great.
I
Who's
did
usually
get
on the
tapped on
Sunday
that
show?
long there.
GG. Good try though.
Yeah, A for effort.
A for effort. It's okay. We got tapped for break even. We're nice and green on the day, so it's not like it's a big deal.
It's just a trade, not
Just a trade.
Just a trade. Trade it, don't date it, baby.
Is the streak alive? Yes. In my personal account, the streak is alive.
Who's usually on the Sunday show? Does the same cast every week?
Yeah, for the most part, unless like one of them needs to, need someone to sub in, but it's usually Craig, Pax, Sarah, and Farm. It's a great Sunday show, in my opinion. They just do like that first hour. Amazing commentary, entertaining. I try to tune in if I'm around on Sundays.
Nice, Mike. GG.
All right, we got 30 minutes left.
Yeah, this looks like it wants to come back down. I might actually try short.
Ooh, risky bisky.
No, nothing too crazy. Put stops at the highs of that previous 15-minute candle. And then maybe TP for, I'll manage TP as it comes, but we'll move it around a bit. I'd love to see new lows though. Maybe fill this gap. What time on Sunday is the show? It's at 6 p.m. Eastern time. As soon as the market opens.
Why not trade gold? That's a good question. I could have traded gold if
I take a look at financial juice and it's nothing but Fed pal, Fed pal, Fed pal, Fed pal, Fed pal. The whole thing.
Yeah,
Fed pal.
yeah, he yapped a lot.
You could scroll for miles and it's just Fed pal.
Yeah, I should have traded it. Should have traded gold. I kind of gave up when it didn't come down into my Hail Mary limit. And just stopped paying attention to it.
Wow, yeah, 356 on gold.
Yeah, I mean, we ran 40 points from the last swing low 20 minutes ago. I mean, that is plenty of a range to tradable. Solid 9% day here in silver as the US dollar gets eliminated from our pocketbooks. We're going to turn it around Venezuela here soon.
Getting absolutely destroyed.
The dollar just does not. It's going to be the Reich mark. It just disappeared. Let's see here. The Zimbabwe currency. You guys have one of those $1 million bills?
No.
Jack, I always say I'm a millionaire, just not in the US. Just in a different country, I'm a millionaire.
It's fair. I went to Lebanon a few years ago, and like it was
Dude,
so
everything
big.
there is so cheap.
Yeah, but like you don't know what's going on. Like their banking system collapsed when I was there, so like I get there and like I can't use the debit card, I can't use the credit card, I can't go to the bank to go money. I had to find somebody, like send them crypto. They gave me cash, and then the bill would come and it'd be like $12 million, and I have no idea what that means. And like I don't know what that, like I just have like counting millions of dollars and like assuming that this is like I don't know what this costs because the currency is it's completely different. So you're like, is this $40 or like $400? It's because it's $1 million. And they're like the currency, like if you were to go online and check out what the currency exchange rate is, it's not real.
Yeah.
So
Did you at least have a good time?
I had a good time. I had a good time. It's not a place I
There
would
you
go
go.
back to though. But very cool from a historic standpoint. I believe it's like the longest continuous recorded history place in the world. So like really cool history, ancient history if you're into that.
Nasdaq's trying to dump here. Lead us to the drop.
Move some stops up. Ugh.
Yeah, Nasdaq is catching some selling here at 160.
Yeah.
Tracy's a millionaire in Zimbabwe. I'm sure many other countries too, but I need to get one of those on my desk.
Well, Nas
This is
Nas not feeling too hot.
it's looking good if we can just lose this 9 EMA and knife.
Snipe Salma with the snipe.
Sniping it.
Come
What's your
on.
entry?
It's not a snipe. 7,007 on ES. Actually, I would say it's a decent entry. I will say it's decent, but it's not a snipe. Snipe
Connection
probably could have
lost.
been 2 points higher or something.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Order filled.
I just went long in Qs, so I hate to FH you, bro.
Swoosh, are we actually in negative gamma environment? Or are you just saying that? Okay, cool. Cool.
I'm gonna attempt my long on Nasdaq as well. Again.
For longs?
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
See if I got my entry at 172.
Who will it be?
My stop is 26,138 right now. And my target is basically back at the highs of this range.
Your stop on what again? I'm sorry.
MNQs.
Okay. Damn, so you're both long.
Yeah, but doesn't mean we're right.
Yeah, no. No.
Stick with your thesis. I'm not going to talk you out of anything.
You guys know that one the one meme where it goes, "You think you could do this to me? You guys think you could do this to me? Fade me on stream in front of hundreds of people?"
Where's that from?
Wait, I need to look it up and then I wish I could send GIFs into the YouTube.
You call them GIFs?
Yeah.
It's a G.
They're not? GIFs.
Isn't it a GIF?
You think you can do this to me? Hold on, wait, I'm still trying to figure out where that's from. Clearly can't do it. Oh yeah, there you go. It's from Training Day, Denzel Washington. Thank you. Took me a minute.
So speaking of funny stories about celebrities in trading, I was at a party and I was in Chicago, and there was like the directors. You guys ever watched the show Chicago Fire or heard of it?
Mm-mm.
There was a director of the Chicago Fire was there, and I get to talking with him, and he's like, "What do you do?" I was like, "I trade." And he's like, "You trade?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't know who he was, but he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, what do you do?" He's like, "Direct Chicago Fire." And then he started telling me that I guess like the actors of Chicago Fire, like they all trade, or like a couple of them do, and they're like into the prop firm space. And I was just like dying. I was like, "That's how deep this stuff goes." I'm like, "Isn't just nerds like us just like trading?" I'm like, "You guys like." People on TV are trading on their side for like fun. Like clearly these guys make decent money, I would think. Like
Yeah.
the fact that they're like sim farming in their free time is quite funny to me. Yeah, I forgot the one guy. I want to say his name's Taylor. He's like one of the main actors. But they were like, "Do you mind if we watch you trade?" I'm like, "You want like I'm like, you're probably used to people trying to like pick your nose."
Dude, yeah, it goes. Yeah, the prop game it's deep. I mean, there's a lot of people that use them. I mean, if you just look how big some of these firms are, it makes sense that it's as big as it is. I mean, I had a buddy that I went and hung out with. This was about a month or two ago, and somebody else was with him as well, and he was also a trader who traded with a prop firm. And so then we got on the topic of just trading and prop firm and stuff. So it's a lot bigger than what most people think it is.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely surprising for me to hear. But moving my 6J target down here, just starting to come into the clock.
Yeah.
Real quick, so if you guys want someone, I guess not just someone, but a few people in the chat are wondering why we took the trades we took. So I'll go over mine briefly. I took mine off of the 15-minute time frame. The previous 15-minute candle is what I would like to call a failed breakout. You know, buyers tried to push price above. We rejected, and my mouse just gave out on me, but we rejected previous quarter high. Seller stepped in, pushed price back down, and that for me is, you know, this is where I would enter anytime if I see something like this, where you have this long wick at the top of a candle or at the bottom of a candle. And yeah, so for me, I would be targeting new lows. I'm not sure if we get there, right? We only have 18 minutes left in the day, but I would like to see an end of the day flush. So far, it just seems like buyers are clinging on to this 9 EMA on the 15-minute. I think if we lose that, we can start to really see some selling pressure step in, and this move can get accelerated to the downside. Keep in mind, though, that, you know, we are at this 7,000 psych level on ES. This is the level that Anthony spoke about this morning, and he said that, you know, he'd want to see us close above 7,001. Anything above that is safe for the bulls. So, you know, as time gets closer into end of the day, bulls do want to defend that level. We'll see, though, what happens. Jack or Joey, if you guys want to go, you can.
Yeah, I mean, my long is just it's based off just it's a range play. It's kind of like what Jack said when he entered his. I'm just looking for a move back to the top of this little range here. Also getting back above into the IB range. And so IB is usually my bread and butter. Granted, we haven't been able to break back above it. But if I can get a move back to the top of this range here, back to IB high or back to IB low, that's really what I've been looking for here.
Yeah. Same thing. I got my screen up here. So see this consolidation, really dead movement all day. We get the breakout, you know, post conference, FOMC, whatever you want to call it, and then just really no continuation higher. But we do still have, if you look at the structure, it is higher highs and higher lows, and this is just a break really back down into the consolidation. If we get that, well, if we push through this, we will get what Salma was looking for. But if we hold what has been, which has been higher highs, even though we're going nowhere, it's been higher highs and higher lows. I'm just kind of expecting a sweep back up to those highs into the close. The only reason I wouldn't say it's a great trade is because of the time left in the day. That's the only reason I don't like that. I would have liked this trade structure set up a little bit earlier, but same thing. If you look at this, just on a chart perspective, there's so much consolidation here, and we break above that consolidation. We had one test. This is technically the second test. And so I'm just buying that test. The first test of support is better than the second test of support. That's also something to note. But if we can hold this support, just expecting to move back to the top of the range. And if we don't hold it, we're going to be expecting Salma's target.
Chat, let us know if you think we're going to pump or dump in the next 15 minutes. To me, this looks super dumpy, but we are approaching that 350 algo time. We'll see what happens.
Hey guys.
What's up, guys?
What up?
What
Yo.
up? Good job, guys.
Thank you.
As usual.
No, Jim, you good job.
Oh man. Well, we're not done yet. We still have some work to do. We're going to get into the earnings announcements that are going to happen after the close. We're going to be keep an eye on Tesla, on Meta, on Microsoft, and on IBM, and the NASDAQ futures, which are going to be live for another hour after you guys are gone, in after hours trading, or whatever you want to call it. I call it regular hours trading, but and then the E-mini S&P. So should be interesting. It might be more interesting than the actual Fed meeting.
I definitely agree with that.
So, not sure exactly. Craig, do you know, we probably don't know exactly what time.
I think we usually get Microsoft first, like right at the bell. So either 4:00, 4:01, and then I think Tesla, and then Meta sometime between 4:03 and 4:05, and then IBM would be last somewhere between 4:08 and 4:10. So plenty to discuss at the bell. And look, Microsoft is 7% of the NASDAQ. And Tesla is 3.5% of the NASDAQ. Meta is close to 4% of the NASDAQ. So, we're talking about close to 15% of the NASDAQ. That's, or the triple Q that's going to be trading, pretty violently after the close. And today, I think, was the first time we had Wednesday expiry. I didn't even really check to see if there was a ton of options for today, but those, I guess, would be in play after the close until the 4:15, right? So, ton of volume in the zero data expiry for those names today. So, pretty wild. Fed meeting kind of a snoozer. Not really much follow through in cross asset land. Dollar rallied a little bit. It's kind of selling back off. Bonds sold off a little bit, kind of rallying back, and gold just going to the moon. So,
I don't want to say I told you so, but I knew that he was not going to answer any tricky questions. He was not going to get into politics. What it's the yin to yang. It's Trump's yin to Powell's yang, and nope, not answering that one.
Yeah, it's just you're right on that point. I mean, it seems like Besson came out while he was speaking on an interview and said to expect the Fed new chair decision within the next week or so. Seems like that deadline keeps getting pushed. But maybe we'll get it. Maybe we'll get it next week.
We're being teased, man.
Yeah.
But these guys didn't hear the press conference because they were busy trading. Jags with the yen trade. I love that.
Yeah, I thought that was definitely my best trade here post conference today.
Yeah, the other thing that I've noticed, I meant to ask Blake Morrow about it. I'm going to cover it more detail on Friday when I see Blake. Is the other good trade in the afternoon and the evening is the Aussie dollar. And the Aussie dollar is moving, man. It's ripping versus the US dollar over the last few days. And I meant to ask him about it now, but we have Craig here now. So I'm going to ask Craig about the Aussie dollar. I mean, the order book was thick last night after I was eating dinner.
I mean, Aussie is the commodity currency, right? It's, obviously has its own internal dynamics going on with inflation and growth in Australia, but really it's the commodity proxy, right? Between Aussie, Canadian, Real, and given all the issues with the US and Canada and even some with Brazil, it's just, keep it simple. Stick with Aussie. And I mean, it's just, back above 70. 70 cents. I don't remember the last time it's been a minute. Looks like
the
since
futures
the beginning
are
part of
70 cents,
since the beginning part of 2023. So big weakness in the dollar continues, and I don't think the Fed did anything really to dissuade that momentum. There was really mildly hawkish talk, but there's no concept of rate hikes coming from this Fed, and even the administration with Besant's comments this morning trying to push back against some dollar weakness. I don't think the market's going to buy it. Trump wants weaker dollar. I think that's where we're headed.
Got it. Going back to the trades, Jack, what's your exit strategy here? You got 4 positions. I didn't see the Bitcoin trade. Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, my stop is right here. We've basically gone nowhere, so I'll just have stops at lows in these products. I took half of my yen off earlier, and that was a pretty good exit because we've gone nowhere. But I just have my stops in, which I imagine are going to get hit or target. So
attention, traders, it's algo time.
Algo time.
So you're letting it ride, Jack.
Yeah, I typically go to stop or target and then just adjust that position. There is my what position was that? Oh no, that was MNQs. So yeah,
1 down and 3 to go.
Yeah, 1 down and 3 to go is right.
Yeah. So Joey, how about you? Do you have any? Are you flat across the board?
No, I'm still long on MNQ right now. My entry's at 172. That I didn't get stopped out on this yet, so let's see if this can run me back up to. I would love to see IB low, but getting to where we are at the day, it may not happen. But we'll see what we get. But I am long from 172.
Are those the OCO brackets or just manual?
Just manual.
All right, so you got to be prepared for whiplash if you have this after 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I do.
My gosh, Salma, how about you? Are you flat?
Hi, no, I'm short 7,007 on ES. I was just green like 30 seconds ago and now back to basically break even and slightly in the red here. To me, this looked like it was going to drop. Still looking decent, depending on how, this 15-minute candle closes, but might just get out here pretty soon.
Okay, but so you're out no matter what before the bell rings?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we have still a couple more minutes. A lot can happen in 8 minutes. We'll see. I just don't really particularly love this current candle here. It was looking good for 30 seconds. For actually like 5 seconds.
Well, we're gonna.
I looked up, I looked down, and it's gone. Now I'm red.
We're gonna stick with you for a few minutes, you guys, and then we're gonna cut a little bit early, and then me and Craig are gonna get into some earnings discussion. So if anything exciting happens on your trades, let me know.
Sounds good.
So, and I do want to remind everybody too, while we're kind of waiting, the 4th, February 4th, Arena Challenge. Everyone's welcome. Go to arena.ninjatrader.com. Register for the event. It's in a sim account. It's a lot of fun. There's cash prizes, up to $5,000 in cash prizes for folks that are on the leaderboard. It's going to be a lot of fun. We also have some featured traders that are going to trade against each other. Leo, Kane, XYZ, and Nick for a tick. A lot of people keep saying Nick's not going to do it, but he did it the last couple times. So I'm a super fan of Nick for these challenges. So we'll see which one of those 4 guys kind of pulls it off, and maybe one of you guys are going to be in there too.
I'll be
Fingers
trading.
crossed.
All right, how about you, Joey? You can do it?
Oh, 100%. I'm signing up today.
Jan, did you get permission
I'm in
to
there.
take part?
You know what? I forgot my cardinal rule. It's it's better to beg forgiveness than ask permission. So I'm signing up.
That's a good one.
You just said that on television. I know.
This is recorded, right?
That'll be used against you in court for sure.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Kevin. I didn't read the instructions. Yeah, we're we had instructions. We were supposed to pop in and say, "This is my bad, Craig." We're we were supposed to pop in and say, "Hey, everybody, don't leave. At 4 o'clock, me and Craig are going to keep going," and then we were supposed to say bye, but I didn't see that. So let's just keep chatting away, man.
So yeah, everybody don't leave. Keep going.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
I'll still be on. I want to hear you guys go
All right.
over these earnings.
Yeah, I mean and Craig, you said 17% of the NASDAQ?
Yeah. If you include that, maybe throw IBM in there. A little bit north of 15% of the triple Qs are, in these 4 names. So it's going to matter. Today's day 4 now of Russell underperforming the NASDAQ, right? We've been talking about how, to start the year, Russell had been outperforming.
Yeah.
Low quality had been outperforming, and some of the Mag 7 and the big cap tech rotations. And, of course, the last 4 days, that's been reversing. And clearly what happens after the bell will, determine whether or not that continues tomorrow. But I don't know. To me, it feels like the expectations are not super high for these names. That there's hair on all 3 of these stories: Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla. So, but we'll see. I mean, the options activity tomorrow is going to be nuts in all these names, and then after the close tomorrow, we get Apple. So Apple is 7% of the NASDAQ. So
yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, so there's a combination of things that could happen. All 3 of these earnings could just be blockbuster good, and that's going to give a lift. Or a couple of them could cancel each other out, right? We could have 2 good, 1 bad, 2 bad, 1 good. So there's still some permutations here that could affect the actual NASDAQ futures.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I mean, unless all 3 are really bad, I'd say, maybe we would start to get some, bigger selling pressure in, the broader indices. But what's more likely to happen is we're going to keep, ES is kind of going to be flat, which is kind of what it's doing today. And we'll have a violent rotation, either NASDAQ up, smalls down, or the opposite. If they miss, or 2 of the 3 miss, we'll go the other way. It's been, hard to see the overall indices, fall as volatility remains pretty compressed. And even right now, vol's a little bit bid into the close here, but not materially so.
Yeah. No, and this, just to let everybody know, and correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, this is earnings for the 4th quarter of 2025.
Yes, that's correct. And typically what we get is we'll get the earnings. You may get a touch of guidance or expectations of guidance, but really the conference calls are where a lot of the guidance will take place. And so those don't really happen until 5 or 5:30. We'll be off there by then. So we could have one of those situations where the initial reaction goes one way, and then the earnings guidance comes out and we go a different way, or the tone of the conference call or whatever goes the other way. So it's it could be wild.
Yeah, and then that's when Elon Musk says live to everybody at 5 o'clock or whatever time he's having his call, where he says, "Yeah, there's not enough silver in the world for us to do all this stuff," and then all of a sudden more markets are affected.
That would be wild.
I'm catching up. All right. And in any event, let's get a round of applause here for our 3 featured traders. Did an awesome job today. Jack, Joey, Salma, always awesome listening to you guys.
Appreciate it, Jim. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thanks for
Awesome.
calling.
We appreciate the subscriptions. We appreciate the thumbs up, everybody. Don't go anywhere. Me and Craig are staying. And I'm going to bid you 3 farewell. And again, thanks for doing this.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Thank
Chad.
you guys.
Take care, guys.
Catch.
All right. Well, I'm sure Shab's probably banging her head. I did. Sorry about that, Shab. Oh man, exciting times. So we don't have to go to my screen yet, but I did add, in addition to the NASDAQ and the S&P, there we go. I'm also going to show Tesla, Meta in the center, and then Microsoft on the lower left, so we can kind of see what's happening before, after, and during.
Yeah, it's going to be it'll be interesting. The reactions typically are swift. They go one way, they can go the other way. I mean, we'll try to do our best to cover as the news is hitting live. But look, as I've been talking about, the Fed was unlikely to add volatility back into the tape, and I think was what we saw today. A Fed that was kind of on the sidelines here. We've already priced out rate cuts for today. We're largely priced out for March. We're largely priced out for April. They upgraded their assessment of growth. They upgraded their assessment of the labor market. They said downside risks have stabilized, and so a little bit of a hawkish tint, but nothing to really enhance the volatility. And so, where are we going to get the next move in the tape? It's going to come from earnings. And so, between 3 today and Apple tomorrow, and the next week Amazon and Google, that's whatever that is, it's 30+% of the Nasdaq. And so, the trade out of Mag 7 and out of the big hyperscalers has been in play now for the last few months. Into other names, broadening out rally, small caps, whatever it is. But, over the course of the last few days, we've started to see a little bit of position squaring, maybe a check back. And now the numbers coming good. I think folks have marginally back to being underweight some of these names, and could see some big reactions.
Yeah. So if you see something, you get data before me, so just shout it out. But as I recall, Tesla, they've already kind of reported that they delivered 418,000 deliveries in Q4, which was a 16% decline year over year. Yeah, I don't know why we already know this information, but I think they apparently already announced that.
Yeah, because they give the monthly sales numbers, and so we kind of we have a decent view on the top line here, less so on margins. But again, it's less about what they did in the fourth quarter. It'll be more about, for them specifically, what does the guide look like? And then Elon gets on the call, talks about robo-taxis and a variety of other things, robots and everything, and we'll be on our way. So
yeah, well, there we go. The bell is rung. And Meta, I got to ask you, man, do you have Meta glasses?
I do not have Meta glasses.
I'm dying to get them, but every time I research it, everyone says just wait for the next version because it'll be better.
Right.
And they're expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they seem like they could be cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is worth trying out. You never know. You got to be forward thinking with some of this tech stuff, right?
Well, it's something Tanya would have. She does her vlog, right? She could do her video log through her glasses, just walking around and talking.
Here's Microsoft. 516, that looks like a beat. But the Azure growth is weak. That's the issue. People were looking for north of 39% for Azure growth. It came in at 38%. So stock's getting a hit, down $20. So start with that. There's Meta. Okay.
This is a big red candle, folks.
Yeah, Meta numbers look a little bit better on the top line. So stock is, positive reactive. First quarter revenues are a big beat there. So we'll probably see a favorable reaction on Meta. First quarter revenues, 53.5 to 56.5 billion. Street was looking for 51 billion. So that's a pretty big upgrade to their look there.
Look at that. How do you even trade this?
Yeah, Meta's up. Meta was up and now it's down.
Yeah.
It's a little bit wild, I guess.
I mean, I got to squish my axis here. I'm not used to this stock action.
Yeah, this is the fun stuff, right? So the Meta first quarter guide looks pretty robust, and the numbers seem okay. So I think the reaction there up first kind of made sense. Not exactly sure why it swooped lower for a minute, and now it's back down again.
Did they mention anything about their AI spending?
Yeah, here's the CapEx. 2026 CapEx, 115 to 135. Street was at 110. So that seems like a fairly big upgrade to CapEx there. So I guess that's what maybe is concerning for for Meta.
Yeah.
So the stock was getting hit a bit more on that. Microsoft keeps leaking big time, down $25 now.
Wow.
They don't like that as their number. I'm looking for the CapEx. I don't see it yet. So it looks like NASDAQ kind of erased a lot of those gains.
So the Azure, that's their software.
Their cloud, that's their cloud business. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So.
All right. And do they have any forward guidance yet?
Not yet. I think Microsoft gives their guidance on will give their guidance on the call. So I don't think we're likely to get the guidance from them. So.
Yeah, I know a lot of analysts were like, all right, what's the segment performance beyond the cloud stuff? What else do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Wow, this is breaking hard. This is not.
Yeah, they're hitting the NASDAQ pretty good now on these numbers here. I think it's this CapEx jump for Meta as maybe concerning some folks. The guide was for 110 billion, looking for the year over year. Let's see what that number was last year, but and now they're guiding to basically 115 to 135. It's it's a pretty big range too. CapEx in 2024 was like 91 billion. in CapEx in 2025, about 110 billion. So a decent upgrade to the CapEx plan for next year is definitely something that seems to be concerning the tape. Maybe that's a question of how they're going to fund it. Less free cash flow back to shareholders. So definitely some concern there. Stock's down 25, and Microsoft too down 35. So we've completely retraced this NASDAQ outperformance right now.
You know, our shareholders, it just seems to me that shareholders are like concerned about all this spending, this CapEx spending going forward. And when are we going to get some fruit on these trades?
Yeah, I think the folks are getting more concerned about the returns, right? I mean, we've been talking about this on the morning show for quite some time. We know that the CapEx is increasingly being financed by debt. We've gone from internally generated free cash flow financing this expansion to debt finance, and so debt investors are going to ask tougher questions on the returns, and so I think the market is rightly getting a little bit more frustrated and annoyed about the timeline to profitability around these things. This is not a terrific reaction to either of these names. The Microsoft reaction is a fair bit worse. Down 8%, down 8% now.
Yeah. Why? Oh, I see what I did wrong. All right, Nazi's not liking this one bit. Let's just pull up an ES also. I made a mistake there. Boom.
And so what I was, even saying earlier, just about the rotations, right? I mean, Russell had been way underperforming for the day. NASDAQ was outperforming. And then so now after these numbers, that is reversed. Some of the Russell underperformance has gone away.
Yeah.
Tesla just hit here, 50 cents earnings versus 45 expected. Stock initially trading down about 1% after the numbers. I don't think we're going to get much in the way of guidance. Revenues were a little bit light, 24.9 billion versus 25.1 billion expected. So it looks like right now we're 0 for 3 with the Microsoft gross margins for Tesla came in a bit better. Operating income a little bit better. So not horrible for Tesla. I think that's really more about what does Elon have to say in the growth trajectory there. But we are 0 for 3 here on big cap tech earnings after the close, and not surprisingly, the Nasdaq is reacting to that.
So, in your experience, do you think at this point could any of the actual investor calls rescue either of these?
Probably. Look, I think there'll be some big questions for Meta here about the 2026 capex and the 2026 expense guidance, which seems a little bit worse than expected. And that's hitting the stock. So they'll have to get it up. I think they'll get pressed on what's the CapEx plan? Why is it growing? Why is it accelerating? What does the return profile look like? We'll see how they, answer and react to that. Stock's kind of bouncing back here a bit, back to flat. So,
yeah,
and then Microsoft, I got to go into the details a little bit more. There's no guidance there yet. But it looks like it's the cloud business that is, obviously the big growth driver for them, and coming in a little bit less than people were hoping for. Now Tesla is rallying. So this is after hours trading in big cap tech land, right? We also have, like I mentioned earlier, this dynamic of zero data expiry trading for today. I'm just trying to pull up the options here, but I mean, Tesla traded, let's see. Tesla traded 670,000 calls and 450,000 puts today, which is, reasonably above where it was yesterday. And a lot of that was for, mostly for Friday, but there was a fair bit of trading for, and that's for Friday. I thought I saw Microsoft was trading for today. Maybe Tesla wasn't trading for today, but Microsoft.
Well, speaking of zero DTEs, I'm just going to I'm going to make the NASDAQ chart here a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit better. But we just wicked through. This is a MenthorQ level, by the way. On the downside, NASI just wicked through not only the pivot, but also zero DTE put support at 26,000. Boom, hit it. Market bounced right back up above zero DTA call resistance. So those levels are in play right now on this on the NASDAQ futures.
Yeah, I mean, here IBM just is coming out last one. Less important, I think, than the other ones. Initial reaction favorable there. Stock up about $10. So, look, I think the biggest concerning one is Microsoft, a little bit more software heavy. Some of the other software names are struggling on back of that. Things like Snowflake and Datadog trading lower after the Microsoft numbers. So I think there's something maybe, different on that one. As far as Meta now is trading, higher, Tesla trading up, and IBM trading flat to up a little bit. So we'll see. I mean, look, I think there's the investors are becoming a little bit more discriminating, right, about the NASDAQ and about the tech trade and about the AI. Today we had Seagate, memory stock, big numbers. Stock was up a ton. I don't know exactly where it closed. It was up 15, 18% at one point. Helped that helped Micron, that helped SanDisk and Western Digital. So we're seeing investors find where the profits are being generated. Memory's clearly been an area of supply demand tightness, and so a lot of momentum in there. But then software has been weak, and so it's not just a straight up NASDAQ tape anymore. Clearly we're seeing some more divergences intra tech as opposed to just between tech and other areas of the market, or between the NASDAQ and the Russell. So,
yeah, I mean, look at Tesla turned around. Now
Yep.
it's ripping. It's over 3% higher now. It's just cooking. So someone decided to read the fine print in the actual release.
the other thing too is a lot of this is just about positioning and options. I mean, the low net community, the Citadels, 0.72s, Millenniums of the world, guys, hundreds of traders are focused on these prints and trade very aggressively, into these names. And so, they could kind of just go anywhere, on the day of or the day after, and, not give a crazy read. But you're right. I mean, the Tesla reaction clearly favorable. Now there's some headlines about Cybercab and the truck and the full autonomous driving on schedule for 2026. Further invest in autonomous robot infrastructure. So, a lot of favorable, forward-looking headlines there probably has people excited. And now Meta is now trading considerably better, turning back to positive after being down about 5%. So, maybe less concerned about the CapEx.
This is the reason. I mean, this is like if the FOMC meeting was meaningful today, which it was not. If it was an important FOMC meeting, this is how FOMC trades. I mean, you get whiplashed all day long. So if you're entering trades, you got to be really, really careful here. I mean, look at this NASDAQ wick. I mean, this is a huge wick. We're 145 handles. So you got to be really careful trying to step in front of these things, because you don't have a legitimate, you don't have an obvious place to place a stop loss. So either you write it out, which is not without a stop loss, which is not a good idea, or you wait. And I think waiting is a good idea in this case.
Yeah, there's also now, it looks like, I was going to mention about volatility, but there's a headline here about Tesla to invest $2 billion in XAI. So, and there's going to be some questions on the call about whether or not Tesla investors will get some ability to invest in SpaceX. So that, keep an eye out for that. But what I was going to say just about the manic trading is, I mean, look at volatility coming into to the day. It used to be the case we had significant volatility into a Fed meeting for the overall S&P, and so that would create some of these crazy reactions, or into a payroll print or into the CPI print. Now we have less of that on the index level, but we have it, crazy volatility for earnings, right? I mean, Tesla vol for Tesla coming into is 80. Vol for Microsoft for this week is 75, and vol for Meta is 98.
Wow.
Right. So we're talking about, insane levels of volatility for these prints. And we know there'll be, vol selling kind of on the back of it, but that's why you're getting crazy, moves in both directions as people try to, figure out exactly what was said and what the momentum is going to be.
Craig, someone in the chat's asking you, can you go through ServiceNow as well?
I didn't even know that they were reporting. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. It's not a name that I cover so closely.
Yeah, we just
stocks down a little bit after hours. They looks like they missed 4Q estimates. I mean, again, this is kind of the software trade, right? We're seeing a lot of the software names struggle because of AI and because of apps displacing, software generally speaking. So I suspect that's part of the story here, part of the worry here with ServiceNow. Stock's been it's been a big laggard, trading close to the 52-week lows. So I suspect it has a little bit to do with that dynamic. So, but IBM up 20, Tesla up 15, and Meta up $30. So now it looks like 3 of the 4 are good, whereas 10 minutes ago it looked like 3 of the 3 were bad. So, look, I think this is, again, I think we're moving into a bit of an idiosyncratic stock pickers dynamic for equities. I think the easy gains, let's say, in indices are maybe behind us, but there's going to be a lot of intersector, intername dispersion that continues with many companies doing incredibly well, where earnings expectations are moving higher. And then there's other companies that are getting crushed by whether it's AI, whether it's the low-end consumer, whatever it is. And so I suspect that dispersion is going to continue. I think we'll get a big correlated move in equities when we start to see volatility rise. Now, clearly, we've been seeing volatility rise in precious metals and in FX, but so far, we're just not really seeing enough of that to move into the bond market and to move into the equity market. And until we get data that, let's say, the labor market is really deteriorating, I suspect we're going to continue to have vol get sold until and unless the president decides to do something wild, which, he's apt to do.
Oh, he would never do that.
So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that. Well, all right. So appreciate your insight. Great session. After hours. I don't want to end it until we talk a little bit about the metals really quickly, Craig. I mean, look at this. Silver's up almost 10%, 116 plus. Gold is up 5.84%, 5,419. Platinum up 6.41%. Where's copper at? Dr. Copper's up 2.23%, almost to my $6 target. I mean, money's flowing into metals from all over the place.
Yeah, and it doesn't appear like it's going to stop. I mean, you had the Fed chair come out. He really wasn't asked too much about financial conditions. I talked about that on the FOMC show, and I tweeted about it. But financial conditions are extremely loose, and the dollar weakening is going to loosen financial conditions even more. And that the Fed chair doesn't see that there's any real risk for them to raise rates, right? And so there's no concept of being concerned about how loose financial conditions are. Where they're talking about an economy that is tracking better than expected. They're talking about a labor market that is better than expected. Yeah. And yet inflation is running hotter than expected. And inflation expectations, the chair talked about how they've come down year over year, but they're up materially since the beginning of the year. 2-year inflation break-evens have moved 50 basis points over the course of the last 4 weeks because of higher crude, higher commodities, and even 5-year inflation break-evens have moved higher as well by about 25 basis points. So if the Fed doesn't think that there's going to be an inflation issue, I think the gold market is reacting to that. The gold market's also reacting to everything geopolitically. And, look, the Trump comments yesterday about the dollar, I think, are going to reign true, right? I mean, Besson came out this morning and tried to, softly push back, but I don't think he did a particularly good job. I don't think he's, I think that the administration wants a weaker dollar. And, it seems like that trend is in place until it becomes an inflation issue. And so we're not there yet. And maybe we need to trade in that direction until we get one.
Yeah, well, energy prices might change that narrative in the next couple of months, so we'll find out.
For sure. I mean, a crude closing up at the highs of the day here, up 1.5%. I mean, crude is, the truth, right? Crude is the place that the president is sensitive to. He recognizes that it's an issue, but he's also getting, pushback from oil majors, basically saying oil at 50 is no place for the energy industry to make money. Yep. We're not going to be drilling. We're not going to be expanding drilling if that's where you get prices. We're not going to be investing in Venezuela. We're concerned that we're not going to put money in shale if oil is that low. So oil moving higher is definitely an issue. And then you put the geopolitical stuff. I mean, the U.S. Great Armada is in the Middle East. I mean, Trump is kind of teasing teasing Iran about our presence there. We'll see. I mean, he likes to, do things on Fridays. So stay tuned for an interesting over the weekend, but possibly.
Well, that's a great lead. We're going to continue this conversation, Craig, tomorrow morning in the Morning Gap with me, you, Shai, and Deli. We're also tomorrow, by the way, everybody, we have our special guest, Alex Campbell. He's also a metals expert.
Yeah.
He's going to be here with us. Tape Talk with Farm, Trade the Open. Nick and Jack are going to be trading the Open, and who knows what Jack's going to trade? He might be trading baseball cards. I don't know. He trades anything. And then though midday markets, we have Leo and Salma. I'm not sure if there's going to be some overlap between all four of those, but four awesome young traders going to be with us in the morning. Afternoon, we have, of course, afternoon update, edge report, but trading the close, Selma, Chris, and Leo. So another awesome lineup tomorrow at NinjaTrader Live. Craig, appreciate you as usual, man. Thanks for being with me.
Absolutely, Jim. Have a good night.
All right, everybody, remember, most important message of the day, please be safe out there. Be good to each other. See you soon.